stuffs, I think.
Yep.
And then we'll go into like more of the crossplay stuff because I want to do like a lot of polls and stuff. So if you guys have to go, then that's the bit when people can get involved in.
Did you want to grab some water before you lose your
I
voice like you did
have
last?
not enough water, but I'll go in a sec.
I was about to say, do you not have any kind of taps in your hat, like in your flat?
I have taps in my bathroom, but I have to get up and go, which is the effort. Hang on. Scrim Knights. There we are. That'll be the first topic. We'll just do Scrim Knights, basically. Right, so I need to now open up open up the channel. Oh, I should probably turn off the the rewards for this bit. I'm not going to let people do 10 minutes of French or Spanish. That'll not be a good idea. That'll be an awful idea, I think, actually.
I'll be like,
I know like 3 words and that's it.
Yeah, but est-ce que vous avez des opinions? And you'd be like, well. Just no clue.
no.
Oui.
No.
Ah, okay. Right, let me go to quickly. Stream links. Okay, that's that. Copy that into the TG one, and then I'll also put that in the Overwatch announcements because I'm a clout chaser and I have 3 different announcements. Let's go. Content
And your
creators channel.
stream just had all of that?
That's it. Shh. Nobody snitch. Nobody
They
tell
had
him.
nothing, they had nothing.
Nobody tell him.
Tell them what?
Okay. Exactly. Well said. Okay, let's go quickly to at PS4. This will be cut from the VOD. People won't see this on YouTube, but they'll see it here. That's a shame. People see the behind the scenes of the at PS4 second at PS4
It's insane.
stuff. Episode 2 of the. There we go. Way. Perfect. Okay. Let me get the stream manager open. There it is. Right.
The professionalism.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of the Need Healing podcast, brought to you by Toontown and the rest of Tactical Gamers PRO, which is really, really cool. This has been an interesting week. We've had a lot of stuff. I was actually quite worried that we were going to struggle for content, and then the Overwatch dev team and TG decided to drop all of the content in like 3 days, which was pretty cool. I appreciated that. So tonight, or this evening, or this afternoon, wherever you're watching this from, we are going to talk about all the different things relating to the Scrim Nights that have been going on, our experiences with those, what it's been like to both witness and take part, respectively, as well as a bit of a talk about what we think about crossplay being added to the game. And with the ability now of my stream being larger than 2 pixels worth of data, we will be able to do some polls and predictions later. See what people, maybe not predictions, but probably just polls. See what people think about crossplay and about their experiences throughout with the Scrim Nights. So, guys, first thing we're going to talk about is Scrim Nights. I don't think anyone really saw these coming, to be honest, because we had a big phase when Lakin and I were trying to organise them, where we had lots of people messaging, like, we kind of forgot this was happening, we kind of didn't know what was going on. But from your guys' experience, what was it like taking part in Scrim Nights that weren't purely squad stuff? And I know you, Miali, have been in the squad stuff Scrim that obviously everyone got to see when it was streamed, but having a more generalised one, what are we thinking? What was it like for everyone?
I like the fact that everyone could get involved because I mean we do CCP like once a month, normally the first Sunday of the month, and we sometimes have squad members join us if the staff can't join, if they've got their own prior commitments, and that's completely okay. But you know we've had it brought up before. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, what about having one with other people in it? And it's always fun to have a little bit of like innocent competition because we're all so varied in like skill range and like our hero pools that you never know what you're gonna get, especially with the like hero bans, the compulsory heroes. It honestly, as much as it did stress me out a little bit, it was genuinely fun to mix everybody up because we pretty much all of us know each other, so we can all get along and we can work as a team, and it just makes it interesting.
Yeah, I think those are some like really like fundamental great points about it. I think Bapple, we had a small little chat during, I think it was after the first night when you said that one of the main things that you liked about it was that, you know, it wasn't just Wheat Squad. You know, you were seeing people that probably hadn't seen before, like that night when you got shipped off to Classic. You actually got to mix a bit with people that were outside of the main dome of your like TG atmosphere. So what was it like getting into that bigger TG environment? What was that like?
Well, I think that was just really. And when I first looked at it to see people in there, it kind of dawnted me as like, yeah, this is more than just we. I'm seeing other people from the other
It's a
squads
bigger
here.
playing field, yeah. But
And it felt
yeah.
like as I went into the games, I didn't want to just show that like, oh, I'm only good at one character. It felt kind of like stressed that like I need to try and play different characters, show that I'm a flexible player, not just one player, and
I
that's
mean,
it.
we'll get into this later, but like one of the highlights of the night was that you were showing how flexible you could be. I remember that one for sure. How about you, Nat? What was your experience of the Scrim Nights like?
A lot busier than I thought it would be, in all honesty.
Oh, really?
And I do agree with what Mialu was saying. It's good that we're all able to participate, especially seeing as all of us are of different ranks. Like yourself participated, and then there's others who are in the gold rank, but the teams were still balanced.
Yeah, it's like,
So there
for example,
wasn't like tilting. So it was good for the teams to experience what it would be like possibly playing in the higher ranks as well, because each team had someone of the higher ranks who was able to coordinate and help everyone in the team. But thumbs up from me. Really enjoyed it.
But that's a really good point you just made, though, because Layla mentioned it the other night when when I was on her team. She was saying how that playing against someone like Choi, which is a hog that will punish you if you make a mistake, like that was really good for her because she almost felt like guilty for having that kind of like silver gold mindset that she'd been used to because it was getting her killed, getting her punished, but she was really getting the more competitive, like, okay, this is what it could be like, in higher ranks, and she was adapting to it. And I think a lot of people enjoyed like that kind of competition of seeing what pushing themselves is like. And also, playing against people that were both higher and lower ranks, how that adapts and changes things. And that was really something that I think when Lakin and I were building the squads, we massively wanted to focus on because we had to really make sure that not only were the teams balanced in terms of just pure numbers, that the SR was balanced, that it wasn't a 4K average team against a 2K average team, but also that we had the roles interacting well, that we had DPS lines on each team's being kind of similar, tanks being kind of similar, because we know that there's been incidents before when there's been like a team that might have had a really strong DPS and then that's been balanced by a really strong support. But in terms of like the overall impact of those roles, maybe the DPS has an easier time because DPS is a bit of a higher impact role than support in terms of like just pure value, where support is like the glue that brings the team together. So it's one of those where when we, especially the scrim that I was able to commentate over and that we watched live, that was really clear to me that we'd managed that quite well. Obviously, there's a long way to go. We can still improve things, and we still plan to. But I think that just for that initial night to see, interactions like between different players, have like those little storylines going on throughout the night to see, for example, we had Mr. J versus Weird Predator. That was a huge like matchup of the other night. And then there was, myself against Choi last night. We've got all these interactions going around, and then there's like Layla, the Lay Blade, coming out at one point, which became a statement piece. Exactly, it became a statement piece, and there's things, lots of little moments that come out, and we had all the highlight reels of the nights. And I think that the Scrim Nights just were a really good way to get people together in that kind of more competitive environment, because obviously TG is at its core meant to be competitive, and we're trying to push ourselves and get better and improve. But at the same time, we all had a blast. I remember everyone, at least from the night when I had to shoot off early the other night, so I'm not too sure about how everyone felt afterwards. But on the night when we were commentating, when we came back in, everyone was like, giddy, happy with each other, having had a great night. It was fun because it was close the whole time, and I think that's what really made it great. So it was like we managed to like maintain that atmosphere of having this properly close affair, but also everyone's enjoying, everyone's having fun, and it is just fun at the end of the day. It's like you said, Miali, it's like it's a pure fun mindset with a competitive drive. Because everyone wants to people want to play well, people want to show off to the stream, be like, oh look at me, I've just got a 6K high noon or whatever it is. People want to pop off, people want to do well, but at the same time it's fun, so it's decent. And I think that can lead us on to a little next subtopic of the Scrim Nights is, what was everyone's personal highlight of the scrim nights? Has anyone got a particular moment or memory? I think Bapple might, predicting a bit early, I think Bapple might have one. But has anyone got any personal moments they thought, wow, that was incredible, that was really good to see, and they captured it on stream, or maybe just in game someone saw something that they thought was amazing? What do you guys think? I think we'll start with Bapples. I've got a fair idea as to what his might be, possibly.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit obvious here. We're going to say my blade.
Yeah, I think the Bapple Blade was insane.
I agree. That baffled me because I saw it just all happen so quickly.
The baffling Bapple Blade.
You
have to write that down.
But you were fantastic on that. It was definitely my highlight too.
I think, do you know what made it so much better for me watching it as well? Is that when we watched it live, obviously we have the Mr. J Zarya happening, which has its own, that could be its own podcast episode, going through the Mr. J Zarya. But like, for you to be almost like, the underdog pick in that scenario, because everyone would expect Jay to pick Genji, right? And then they see your Genji, like, oh, why is Jay not on Genji? It's never like, oh, Bapple's on Genji. It's always the question of why is, Jay not doing it? And then for you to get that massive impact blade in the way that you did and just completely swing a fight, that was huge. That was incredible. I remember that massively. I remember watching it. Because I think all we saw on the stream, which was weird, is that we saw George like on top of I think it was on top of point A, like almost like sniping his Trace, trying to like get some poke behind, and then we just hear the grab and we just see the kill feed just light up, like 3 things die instantly. It was huge. But yeah, that was a great first one. I massively agree. Go on, Miali. What was your highlight of either night? To be fair, either night, if you were watching it or involved.
I was because so much happened that they are like, I've been meaning to rewatch both VODs because like that obviously first night I participated, second one I was watching it and I was just like, oh, like just keeping a keen eye, like the fact that the lay blade continues to exist. I think it's
so
the initial lay blade, but I was watching it and I am obviously partial to some of the members on each team because they are Luna, but like
bit of pride coming out. You're allowed to have a bit of pride, of course you are.
And like the Dead Eyes Des was pulling off, but then there was the bombs that Nat was doing, like, and then Lemony was popping up. I was so surprised to see Lemony on DPS.
Oh my god, the Lemony Symmetra was actually infuriating to play against. It was so good. Like, there's just nothing you could do.
Because for us, she is mainly support, and I know she's wanted to dabble in it, and she's going leap and bound. It's incredible. And I was like, oh, okay, it's the Sister Act, like it's Sister Act 3, let's go.
Sister Act
like, because it was her and Egg, like DPS and support.
It was. They were pocketing each other as well. Like, it was huge. I remember it was on Diva trying to dive into them.
And the Farah, she was fantastic. I think that would be my highlight, was just watching like someone who's wanted to dabble just succeed so well. It was honestly, I was so proud that she's been able to flex herself to be able to reach that potential, and it was incredible, and I was so proud.
I say in my mind, if there was ever an advertisement piece that she could put forward, a bit of a statement to maybe give her a bit of time on DPS, and I think that was definitely the
we allow it anyway. Like we're quite flexible, and I mean, if she wants DPS, I will happily switch to healer.
I was gonna say,
you take it.
Let her roll over.
It's fantastic.
It's okay. Mr. J's redeemed an ads break. That's very inspired. We'll save that until the end. We'll stack them all up. Any ads breaks that comes in, we'll stack them up until the end. We'll have a big long ad break at the end of the stream. But thank you also for the 1 bit, Mr. J. Much appreciated. But yeah, so Nat, leading on to you, what was your highlight moment of the week?
It would be Mr. J being spoon-fed a flux on a rock.
Oh my god, that was amazing! Oh, it was so good! Oh my god, because we were watching it live as well, and it was so good.
Because I rewatched it back and I was like, this is so unfortunate. Because we were all lined up perfectly, and then it's just rock, flux, dead. And I was like, oh dear.
It's like...
And he's crying in chat.
Yeah, he was crying in game as well. He was definitely having a bad time. No, God, I remember watching it, and I think it was... Who was it? I think it was Des on Sigma, and it was...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and it's like... He blades up. The rock is flawless. It's a good rock. You might say it's lucky because of like just hitting against you is massively difficult anyway. But the rock is great. And then like he catches him like in the ring of the flux after he like drops down, and it's just like a really good play. Like I just watched it, and I was just like, it was like reverse popping off, right? Like you see the Genji Nano Blade fly, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna be huge. And then you see like the counter to it, the rock and then the flux, flinging him in the air and dropping him back down, just completely wasting his ults, and it's just nothing that could be done. It was just it was so unfortunate to watch, but it was also so amazing because like again, this is a matchup where you'd think that Jay's mechanical skill over Dez's should, in a theory, be a bit of a mismatch, but Dez, just destroyed that fight. I think also Dez, I think was a dark horse for one of the MVPs of the night. We didn't end up doing MVP picks because we wanted to like keep everyone's kind of like morale in the same eon of space that it was at the time, because everyone was in such a great mood. Didn't want to risk dampening it by someone not being MVP or being upset or something. But honestly, I would have said that Dez was one of the dark horses for that pick because he was so good on tank when he was on it. And then I remember on King's Row, his Ana on Kings was so good, like consistently sleeping, anteing, shutting things down, keeping people alive. I just remember like the fact that I massively noticed it to me is just like what showed it, but I just couldn't remember seeing a bad thing that he did. He's had a really good night, and I think that one of the things that made it so much fun to also like team building, because I built the teams. Because when we were with Lakin, we were doing all these little maths pieces. We had all the numbers down, team averages, trying to get everything as balanced as possible. And it's like you put these teams together, and you put them together based on, what your personal opinion is, what your personal like experiences with the people. Maybe some more than others. I hadn't played too much with Milkar before, but I put her on the team with us because of the numbers and the heroes that she played. We had to look through those, try and had a general like guess as to what she might play, but then it's like, you put these heroes into a little grid kind of system, and you see, okay, this person is probably going to be at this rank, playing this kind of well. We'll balance them with them. But we had nights where people were massively overperforming expectation, like more than anyone could have gambled. Like Layla, for example, is always the best example because of how well she played. But for that to be, a silver level DPS, spinning around in circles, taking out everything, like it's just, it's just unfair almost, like because. Dez played massively above what his SR would tell you. Layla did the same. Loads of people did, out of what I can remember. I think Bapple obviously did as well. And obviously you two, massively played above what anyone would have expected. It looked like, honestly, if you'd have told me from an outside perspective that both nights were like diamond level scrims, like balanced teams, diamond level, then I would have been able to guess which would have been like the higher or lower diamonds, more or less like George and Choi or Jay or myself or Welsh maybe, like from the nights that I played in. But honestly, it was like just watching the games. Everyone looked like they were playing at a super good level. Like it looked like the comms were really good as well throughout. Obviously, I don't know what it was like for you guys when you were playing on the Tuesday, but just watching from the commentary, you could tell things were being said and you could tell things were happening. It looked really clean, and yeah, I mean, it just looked great. I think if I had to choose a highlight of the week, God, it's so difficult. I think it would have to be like watching back the Layla play of the game when she just drops down and just stares at the Reinhardt for like a good 2 seconds, just eyes him down and then spins. It was so funny because like we were watching, we're like, what's going on? What's going on? It's just like pressed ult and killed 3 things. We're like, okay, that's great. But it was just like the moment in between, she just like looks him dead in the eyes, like and just doesn't move. It was incredible. But no, there were so many. Yeah.
I feel your statement there, like obviously with you saying that everyone like exceeded past their sort of their SR range. It says a lot because a lot of us we know and we also feel that we are not in the ranks where we belong.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I have fallen into bronze personally on DPS twice this season alone. And I know that a lot of my SR is not where it should be, and a lot of us are hard stuck, and that's not our fault. It's not that we're not that good, it's the fact that we just get unlucky. And I feel we are given the chance to truly show ourselves for how we can play in an environment like that. So, like, me personally, I'm really thankful that I have that opportunity, because then it's a case of if I've been accused of being boosted because like my healer is so far apart from my DPS.
Sure.
But it's knowing the people we're playing with that for the most part will know us, will know what we're truly capable of, and like you bringing us together will help us shine. And I think it helps with sort of, when we randomly join a team. It's teaching us more than you realize, and it's bringing us out more. And I think that it's going to be. I'm really not good with my words.
That's okay. You're doing great. It's fine.
I think it's a really good idea moving forward with the same concept in mind for people to take on individually, that we can truly express how we play and how we want to play and how we are skilled, SR aside, but as an individual and what we can do.
Yeah, the way I see it
If
is
that
like
makes sense.
no, of course it makes great sense. The way I see it is that, like you said, it's like for the guys who are maybe like in wheat, who are looking to try and get into a squad at some point or be picked up by a team that's looking to, replace a gap. Maybe a member goes on leave and then there's an opening. Like to me, these nights do seem like the perfect like audition pieces for those. And it's like, for a squad to look for because what Rhyme used to have to do in the day is that we'd have to come into wheat and we'd sit there and just spectate wheat playing. And it's like, that's okay, but it doesn't ever give you like the full picture of like what they're going to be like. But when you can see like from a VOD point of view, or even just like from playing with them in like a proper scrim format where people are trying and there's like set team comps and little bits and pieces going on, but in like that mutual environment, like you said, where everyone like knows each other to a decent extent, and it helps us push against what we can expect to see, what we can't expect to see. That to me is like the best demonstration of what people are capable of. And I think that's exactly why people played so massively above what people thought they would, is because it was like the most perfect environment to do so. That I have this awful like memory that will stick for a long time, is that I think on this account, let's have a look. I think it was season 23. I think I showed it on stream earlier. Season 23, yeah. My DPS was 3k20 on this account at the end of the season. I started at 3k50 this on this account at the start of the season, and I played my best and dropped about 500 SR. I hit 26, and I didn't stop queuing. I just kept going, and I ended up climbing back up, just solo queuing the whole time, climbing back up to where I finished back in Diamond, and I stopped because I was like, it was like such a mental strain to go all the way down slowly and then have to slowly come all the way back up again. It was a nightmare. So when I hear the stories about how people, they get hard stuck and it's not their fault because of like teammates or rank balance or smurfing, and it is true, and I've seen it. It's a nightmare. I came up with this theory that like helps me put things into like a concept that I can understand a bit, is that I always think that realistically, I say if you play your absolute best every game, and you're solo queuing, like just because of the way the game works and like the odds of you getting decent, teammates, communication, team comps, all of that, and the map you get as well, and whatever it might be, I think about 65% of your games are winnable. Like realistically, that's if you're playing like optimally, like the best you can play. But so I think there's always just going to be that 35%, maybe even more. Probably it might even be more in lower ranks. Like I would say about 45, maybe 55% winnable in lower ranks, like say plat and below. That's just not. You can't consistently grow with that. And it's like you see it if you watch pro streamers play. We're talking like 3-4 or like 4-4 plus players. If you watch they put their records on most of them put records on the screen of how their games have been going, and you get them where it's like, you get tank players who solo queue, and they'll have been streaming for 8 hours, and they'll be 8-7 on their record, or like 12-11. It's so difficult to push past like 50% win rate if you're solo queuing, just because of the way the game's designed. So it's like the fact that people get stuck in these ranks, I completely get it, because it happens all the time, and it's like the fact that we can then try and create an environment to try and give people the opportunity where they can show really what it is that they're made of, what they play like. I think that's great, and I also think that's just something that as a competitive based community that's trying to look to grow people, it's something that we could massively push into to developing and stuff. I know Lacken, if you ever spoke to Lacken about it, he would tell you that we've had a lot of chats with higher up people who've been very upset with us that we've not made this an official thing for a lot longer, but it's definitely something that we're going to look to do, to have it like advertised, broadcast. Obviously it's been on the TG Twitch recently. That's how my stream had, I think, like peak 18 viewers live watching on the TG stream. So people want to watch us play, and I completely understand why, because we look fantastic when we're doing it, and it's just giving ourselves that opportunity. Like you said, maybe take it into an LFG situation when we go outside and try and get our ranks up to where they might probably should be. It's just so difficult, like normally doing that. But having this is like maybe like a bit of like a mental boot camp training for that is, if that helps anyone in any way, then that's just like reason 303 to keep doing this and keep this going. But this is definitely something that we're gonna 100% commit to and look forward to, just because of, to be honest, how good the reception's been. Like we didn't know how good people were going to take to this, and typical Lakin, many people missed the first announcement because it got clogged up behind so many different things. But with the plans for Toontown going to be helping us advertise and everything TG related in terms of like publishing the announcements repeatedly to get people always involved, always in the loop. We're hoping that it's just going to be something that grows. And again, like this is something that could also invite more people to our community. It's something that we want to bring people in on this kind of like basis of, we're doing things. This is what we do. We don't just turn up Wednesdays, Sundays. We have things that go on in between. It's exciting. I think that more, things to look forward to is always the best way to go, is my opinion on it. And that's definitely what I think we're going to look to do. So, I mean, the fact that people have loved these in the way that they have has been the best possible, like, way to keep that going. 100%. Easily.
To be fair, I love selling the community to people, because it's just like, oh, it's nice to not have toxic things, and I'm just like, yeah, like, and we've got practices, we've got coaching, but I find that TG's helped me learn so much more, because when I joined, I was like a Lucio one trick.
Oh my.
Dabbled barely in
my. We won't talk about when people first joined. It's a very scarring memory for lots of people.
And I think I only played like Ryan, Zarya, and like I used to play Arissa.
I'll quickly show the stream what I was when I first joined TG. There we go. We'll just quickly. That's what I was.
Diva used to be my highest played character.
Yeah.
And then it went to Lucio. And Mercy has only just overtaken that.
God, it's crazy.
I, granted, have become a bit of a one trick, but I've been taught so much, and I feel like it's situations like this where it can truly show what this community is like capable of. It's like, we can have this fun. You can learn things about the game you love. It's like all like a nice little package.
Yeah, I think that
you don't have to pay for it.
And you don't have to pay for it. This is true.
The cheapskate in me is just.
Oh my god, Mr. J. Mr. J used to be a Moira main. Oh god, how times change.
Oh god.
And then he went to a Genji main. That's not much better.
For me, it's like, I think one of my like memories is, I think Petit is the funniest that I've heard in a while. Is that Petit was like a hard Moira main, and then he became a hard ball main, and then became a hard Torb main. Like this was like he went full circle around all the roles, getting himself involved. Actually, I've got like a little theory that you probably killed his ball career. I think like after that Junkrat game, he just never played it again and went straight to Torbjorn. Embraced the chaos. As used to be a Widow main.
That wouldn't help him either, because I would just destroy the turret.
Yeah, well, I guess he was just trying to run away with a bit more speed on his little legs.
Bless his sweet soul.
Oh, but no, but it's TG is like it's like you said, it's like that. It's one of those atmospheres, those kind of like community spheres where you can really do a lot of growing, a lot of developing. Not only as like a player, but also as like just a person as well. Like I was a completely different person to when I joined like over a year ago, and I know a lot of people else that like have had that kind of like interactive experience, like that more social side of it, which has been great. Like we wouldn't have this right now. We wouldn't have some of the people that we hang out with outside of practice. Friends that we've met through TG, we wouldn't have those if it wasn't for we or whatever. And the first time that we came into that lobby and had to like take a big gulp and be like, all right, talk to people. This is now happening. It's
being social.
Yeah, it's a big ask for a lot of people, especially if they're new to like a big community, right? When we bring people in, I get it's difficult for a lot of people, so we try to like trial by fire them a bit and just throw them in the deep end. But most people adapt.
Fair, I have been honest, and I'm about to massively expose myself. My first 2-3 practices, I was not sober because I had at least I'd always have at least 1 or 2 glasses of wine because I was so anxious, because even though I'm not speaking to people face to face, it's just like there's a whole new set of people, and I know I felt like people were watching me because I knew they had to be, and I was there like, ugh.
Yeah, there was always an aspect of trying to.
I was never sober. It was hilarious. And when I tell people now, they're like, really? And I was like, yeah.
God, it's a nightmare. So that was a little
wine
naughty
was
secret.
cheap.
Wine
was cheap, so and it was lockdown, so why not?
No, obviously, like it's weird. It's like when I first joined, before COVID was really even a thing. Like it was way back. That seems like years ago now, but it was, just before probably the pandemic was even beginning in like China. It was like that kind of time. So I had like that normal interactive side, and then it was the big lockdown hit, and things became a lot more online based. So teachers just became even closer to me at that point, and that's when Rhyme became a lot bigger at the time, and things were just moving in that direction. But I think we're now like in this period, which I am massively grateful for that we're here, that we can finally start to, we've had a bit of a decline over the last couple of months, just with numbers and members, and certain like situations between like staff losing certain positions, like when we lost Hivarius ages ago. It's very difficult to like replace those things, and I think that what we've done, which is great, is instead of replace them directly, we've been able to kind of rebuild in certain ways and set new foundations to build on. And I think now with with announcements that are coming soon, no spoilers, is that we're in a position where big announcements are going to be made, big changes are going to be made, but they're going to be fundamentally just better for everyone, and it's going to bring a lot more attention and a lot more room to grow that maybe we didn't have before. And we could be, I always had this dream, especially when I played for XO, is I wanted to get TG back to the way it was when I remembered it being when I first joined, which was having loads of squads outside of Wheat, all of them interacting most nights, having scrims between squads being really common, having subtle like rivalries between squads as well that you could be like not involved in. But like I remember when I used to be a little gold player back in old Sparrow squad, like seeing or hearing news that Nova and Classic, old Classic, back when Classic used to be like indestructible, like with like Matt Chadwick and all of those, like back in those days, like hearing, oh god, Nova came against Classic in a quick play, one of them might have teabagged, that drama going around, that kind of like rivalry it was so much fun to just be a part of that kind of
Scorpion.
it's like, but we used to have that all the time with like all of the squads, and it was great. It was like such a interlinked community, and that's what I really want to like push towards us being before like anything, to be honest, so that we can
honestly
try
I
and
love
have
the
that
sound
back.
of that.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
it is the end, like the big end goal, to be honest. But hopefully we can get there.
We're into the end game now.
We're into the end game. That's the crazy thing, is that we're already like things have changed so much. You're right, Bullet. I noticed you snuck in. How you doing?
I don't know what I'm just joined into, to be
This
honest.
is the this is the podcast. This is the Need Healing podcast. Yeah, Episode 2.
Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry. I just walked into my room. I just walked into my flat after doing the washing and thought join in and see what's going on, and like what I hear is someone talking, not being really mad, but I heard you talking about being anxious, and I slightly talking about
my alcoholism. Yeah, that's good.
I don't remember but I do remember Classic back before they did disband.
Yeah,
that's when I roughly joined. That's when Smalley used to be squad leader.
When did Classic disbanded?
Yeah, do you not remember the huge outbreak that happened? Not outbreak, outburst.
No.
Oh, this is a fun story. Okay, well we've kind of gone off the scrim nights. We'll change it. It's now story time. It's now story time with Zetzel Valley. Okay, so this is going to be a story from when I used to be Rhyme SL. Basically what had happened. Hang on, I just want time. There we are. Don't quote me on that. There we go. Right. So basically what had happened, right? It was a kind of like, I think it was early like Aprilish, I think. I can't massively remember. Early Aprilish of like, oh no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it was like in Feb, Jan time. It's definitely before
Yeah,
the lockdown.
it was very early this year. It was very early this year, I think, or like late last year.
Because it was after Smaller left. With Smaller left, then I think wasn't it? I think Eva took over after Smaller left.
Yeah, it was while Smaller was still a cell of wheat. That's when it was. It was when Smaller was still a cell of wheat. Because what happened is that Rhyme were trialing Render Gamer from Wheat. Yeah. So this is when Rhyme's squad looked like, it was like me, it was like Kelowna, Captain Negative, George Tora. I think Pettit was in there at that point. I don't think Alexa was in yet. But we were trialing for an 8th. so we were trying Rend as well. And I had a night when I had a message from Kelowna and Captain Negative that basically said that, we can't be at practice tonight. I was like, okay, that's fine. And what had happened was that this had happened a couple, like, every now and again for the last couple of weeks. And I obviously didn't know, but the same thing had been happening on Petulant's side. Because when Petulant used to be a SL of Classic, he would get messages from Matt Chadwick being like, oh, we're just not here tonight. We've got things to do, blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, okay, well, that's fine. You've excused yourself from practice. That's all good. And then we had a night when I got a pop-up notification on my screen that said Kelowna 19 has joined a party. I was like, oh, that's strange. He's not here tonight. So I like pressed that and then like hovered over the party screen. And I just saw like, Matt Chadwick, Gaitis, Captain Negative, Kelowna, like all in this party. And they were doing a pug. They were just doing like a goat's pug, like during practice time. But they'd lied saying that they couldn't be there. I think Kelowna said like a dentist appointment or something. It's to miss all the practice. Like these are things that we would get told. No, but it's like, you laugh and it's like we had no idea. We had zero idea. So what I did was I messaged Lakin. I said, "Hey Lakin, can you see this party that's going on?" He was like, "Oh yeah, I can see that." So what we did was we sent Secret Agent Lakin like into the party to just see whatever names were in there. And the second Lakin got in, he got kicked straight away because they obviously saw him.
No.
He got kicked out of the party straight away.
Lakin wasn't very happy over that.
He didn't say anything. He just went in, saw the names there, and before he got kicked, and I basically said, "Are these people in there?" He went, "Oh, I didn't see them." And then I gave them like alt account and said, "Are these people in there?" And he went, "Oh yeah, they're in there." I was like, "Okay, great." And so what we did was we had this big meeting after practice that night where like Rend was there, Kelowna was there, Captain was there, Matt was there, Gaitis was there, Jamer was there, like all of the old classic boys. And basically this is when Havaris was still a BGC. When Havaris was what Lakin used to be.
Havaris used to scare me so much.
And
Even though he was so nice, he scared me.
And he screamed at them. He absolutely tore them to shreds, to be honest.
What, did he sound like Gordon Ramsay at the time? Just
kind of, like a Dutch, poorly English Gordon Ramsay that was trying his best. Like that's, if you can imagine that. Like, you guys don't know where the lamb sauce is, like kind of that kind of. This is kind of what we were talking about, right? And God, they were just crucified, like destroyed. So basically, what had happened was he left it to us to decide what was going to happen, but like to the staff. So Petulant and I had a chat, like, what are we going to do to these people? And Petulant and I agreed that we were just going to talk to them bluntly and say, what is it that they want to do? And we asked them what is it they wanted to do. And I was told that they wanted to stay in Rhyme. Petulant was told that they wanted to leave. So Petulant's boys left Classic, and then shortly after my boys told me they actually wanted to leave as well. So my boys left and they joined outside of practice and they made a team, which I think lasted for a good it was actually quite successful, that team. They made a team called Simplicity Gaming, which was like just a combination of the old Classic and Rhyme members that were like Masters Plus at the time.
Yeah.
So they built that, and that's basically Classic never recovered from that. Classic was always in a constant state of like trying to survive because they always got members in, members leave, like trying to build up until Petulant stepped down and Rugby took over, and then Shadow and Rugby took over, and that's basically where we are now. But that they were in like this constant phase of just being like ripped to shreds.
Because I know Classic were always the case of they kept themselves to themselves. I never knew much about Classic at all. It wasn't until I started doing squad stuff like CCP that I even knew who the SL and SA were, and even then I was told we keep ourselves to ourselves. We don't really we just do our own thing. We just focus on what we need to do, and I'm just like, okay, I didn't even really know who was in there. I only got to a point that I only knew that Trophy was in there. I was like, okay.
And this is because
Trophy share.
early day Classic, they had like the kind of Rhyme effect where Rhyme was always very social. We tried to always be a lot more involved because I always was try to be a lot more involved with like TG stuff and get like LFG. You always saw like Rhyme people in LFG. Maybe not like George all the time because he was busy. Maybe not Petit too often, but Petit would often do it. Torres obviously pokes her head in every now and again. Alexa used to when she used to be around. People would see us around. People never saw Classic around because Classic were always just in the middle of nowhere because like Matt and Gaitis were always doing their own thing, and it almost felt like Classic at the time, like old Classic was almost like two different squads in one, because you had Petulant, Buddha and Sue who were all like gold plat level, and then you had Jamer, Gaitis, Matt, V to Hojo who were all like diamond plus. and it was like it almost felt like two different squads. So they could never do anything like almost together because they would always be away. And I felt so sorry for Petulant because he did a PB once, or a PPR, because it was one of the practices that we figured out afterwards. Oh, this is when they lied to us, said that they weren't here, but we didn't spot them. He was the only one at practice, and he did a PPR that said he did a PPR. It was actually really funny. He did a PPR that said I played quick play for about half an hour with myself and it was fun. And then on the PPRs when you put like the ratings of how the thing went, he went teamwork, not applicable.
Oh no.
He was like communication excellent. Oh, it was so good. He was a really good sport about it, but that was one of the big shake-ups that happened a long time ago. TG's had
I had no idea of any of that.
Yeah, no, it was very well kept under wraps. We weren't supposed to say things. People were worried when they saw Classic change, because Classic was bigger than Rhyme at the time. It used to the two biggest squads used to be Classic and Nova. When Nova got made.
Wait, when did Nova disband? I'm trying to remember when they disbanded. I don't
Nova disbanded. Nova disbanded about a month or so after Rhyme was made, because we took the members from Nova to fill out after we lost our members.
I definitely wasn't there then. I think.
Yeah.
I'd
heard of Nova when I joined. I remember that was
so.
They discussed.
Do you remember Dino? Do you remember Dino?
Yes.
Yes.
Dino was the SL of Nova.
Oh my god.
Love Dino.
Dino was the SL of Wheat when I joined.
I swear Dino is no longer part of TG, is
Not anymore, no. Not anymore. But Dino was the SL of Wheat when I joined, and Dino and Alexa were the SS of Wheat, with the promise of becoming the SS of Nova. That's why they were the SS of Wheat, was to practice for that.
I don't know if Dino coached anyone else before he left, because I remember he did coach me on Reinhardt before he left.
Yeah, he used to do loads of Reinhardt. He gave me Reinhardt coaching. He gave me Reinhardt coaching.
And he coached a little bit of Luna, and this was before. I think it was around the time that me and Lady Mercy Main became the SS of Luna, because that wasn't that long into it.
Because Luna hadn't existed for too long at that time. Yeah,
we got created 2-3 weeks after I even joined, which was July. So we were made in August, and I became a squad staff September, October time.
It is just crazy, isn't it? Seeing how much has changed.
Yeah, we're still in our infancy if you think about it.
Yeah.
We're not even a year old.
I still remember when I first joined CG, and I'm there, I remember when someone forced someone to play Zenyatta and Wheat, and then all I hear is Smaller just in the background annoyed to high heaven at the person. And I'm there just As just told me you shouldn't ask what happened, but I'm there all I can think is someone just got hit. I'm not going to say anything bad to that day. I'm guessing it's got to be clean.
Was this when Az was the SA of Wheat?
Yes, it was.
God, what a time!
I can't remember who I remember every time he used to write the PRBs and when he used to do the PBs for practice.
Yeah.
And he used to have some form of living life forms on there.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Right, I have to go.
That's all right, Mia. I was literally about to say what time.
Me
Thank you so much for taking part.
I hope you guys have fun with the rest of the podcast. I will try and catch as much of it as possible. Alright, bye guys.
Bye bye.
See you later.
I wonder if I can join the Az himself. Oh no, Az's gone offline. Des is here.
Des over here. He might be.
Yes. Lemon is on.
Sure. Well, if you want to go join people, but you can do.
No. I'm inviting them to see if they can join in. See if I can.
Wait, okay. You don't have to bring people in without them knowing what's going on.
No, I thought to see what happens, see how they react to how I react to it.
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe something in advance in the future we could do. But for now, we've had that is a hell of a tangent. We've not had a tangent like that before. We've just completely got off topic. But we spoke about the Scrim Nights for a bit, and the Scrim Nights were really fun, and I can't wait for us to do those again. But now we're going to move over to probably what is the main segment of the evening. We're going to talk about crossplay.
I've actually noticed that when I came on today, it came up saying about crossplay, and
Yeah.
I looked at that like, am I dreaming or am I just high to high heaven from some illegal drug that I've taken somehow through my
For
roommate?
for TG stream purposes, it's just paracetamol. But for for anything outside, we'll keep it at a buck. But yeah, no. So crossplay, the dev team have lovelily announced that crossplay is going to be something that will be coming, and I'm going to try and get the announcement up. But before we get that on to chat about, what do you guys think? Initial thoughts about crossplay for Overwatch? What do we think?
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to have them because then there you got Xbox, which is simply the same as PS4 skill range, but then you got PC gamers, which will be a pain in the ass. Not being rude on anyone who plays PC, I do like PC myself. I actually do not even play PC. I would like to get into it. I do not know anyone who can help me get into it. Anyways, just having someone on mouse and keyboard, they've got better accuracy overall, haven't they? They've got more aim. They've got more time to turn compared to controller, so it's going to be a massive skill difference there, which might cause more people to get thrown down into ranks they're not meant to be in. At the same point, might have teammates who are better than the skill
But this is the thing, Bullet, is because the crossplay isn't going to be entirely involved. It won't be completely competitive. I don't think it's going to be competitive at all, based on what we've read. I've got
No,
the
competitive mode is split into two.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like crossplay
PC
for
players
yeah.
and everyone on console.
And everyone else, like all of the underlings that aren't PC gamers.
Basically,
Right.
just the newest thing that could throw your game as a main tank could just be having a switch as your off tank.
Oh my god, a gyro controls Switch player. Oh my goodness. I don't know how
Oh,
they're going to
no.
balance that. I'm worried about that. But okay, so this is the official announcement from the PlayOverwatch.com website. They've said crossplay is coming to Overwatch. Crossplay is coming to Overwatch soon, allowing players to group up and play together. Powered by the latest global Battle.net update, players from around the world can team up regardless of their preferred platform. With the release of Crossplay, all players will need to make a Battle.net account and link their appropriate console accounts. With the launch of Crossplay, everyone who logs into Overwatch by the end of 2021 will receive a golden loot box to celebrate. Obviously, the golden loot box is like, it's a nicety, but I think the main thing that we're going to look forward to is just the actual crossplay itself. And
I look forward more to the loot box.
yeah, would you? Okay, well maybe different per person. But no, so clearly the Battle.net update is what's allowing this to happen. I've used Battle.net before because I use it for the Overwatch League tokens. It's what lets you to connect to the YouTube to get the tokens from the watch time.
Yeah.
And I use that obviously all the time because I always have the Overwatch League on somewhere to try and get some tokens in. But yeah, I mean it doesn't seem too difficult to set up, and it seems like it's going to be something that will be here to stay. When I first saw this, my thought process was this is them trying to set up for Overwatch 2. This is them really trying to make a power statement here, see if it works in Overwatch 1, hoping that it does so that they can have it on launch in Overwatch 2. What do you guys think about the reasons why they might have brought this in? Do you reckon it's being massively like called for? Is it something that you guys want to see or have wanted to see for a long time? What do you think? Nat, you've been very, very quiet for a little bit. Sorry, Papa, we'll get to you in a second.
The only
But we'll
reason
start
I've
with
been
that.
quiet is because I've just finished a packet of crisps.
Oh,
And I
that's
don't know
okay.
about you, but
Thank
I don't
you.
want to be munching down the mic.
Oh yeah, we appreciate you saving the stream from the munch
The
of the
most
crisps.
important question I've
It's
got:
alright.
which flavour did you eat?
It was cheese and onion.
Cheese and onion. Okay. No comment.
Good.
No
What do
comment.
you mean, no comment?
No comment.
okay.
Anyway, so Nat, so what do you think about crossplay? Where's your head at?
At first I was very worried, because I have played on almost all platforms, and I know for a fact that Switch is absolutely horrendous to play on. It is impossible.
Oh god.
I tried, and to say I wasted my money, I was very upset about. But I have played crossplay on different games, and I know that it does work if balanced correctly, like competitive play. I'm glad that they separated PC from console, because I do not want to come across a mouse and keyboard widow. No thanks. That would just ruin my day.
What's
So
the
I'm
matter though? A widow or a McCree?
a widow.
Oh yeah, definitely a high skill widow, right? Like 100%, you just die.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am glad that they've introduced it, because now obviously they're gonna get money, and two, I get to play with friends on different platforms. Win-win situation. But will they bring in cross progression later down the line? I hope so.
I hope so. I think it's something that I'd love
Yeah.
to see on like I don't know, the way that I've thought about it is that the Nintendo Switch being considered a console kind of upsets me a little bit because it's very scuffed. Like the fact that there's like gyro controls and that like I think top 500 on Nintendo Switch is like 3-1. I think worries me a little bit.
I have got friends on Switch, and yeah, they've told me that you just about get into Diamond, you're top 500.
You are just the best player in EU. Like there's just no one else there. It's just
Right.
yeah. This is what I think.
Can I just interject real quick?
No, so we're going to keep going on about the.
And cheese and onion, the worst pick. Yes, of course, definitely for sure. Right, okay. Y'all hating on the best flavour.
It's a maybe not option.
It's maybe not.
No, cheese and onion is awful.
No, it's not.
It's really bad. But we're going to try and use these polls a bit with the upcoming bits as well with the opinions of Crossplay. I just wanted to. It's a 50-50 split. So half of you are just wrong. That's okay. Right. So what we'll do is we'll talk a bit generally about what we think then about crossplay. It's just like a good or bad change, right? I'm worried for. Sorry, Billy. Yeah, go on.
I would say it's good and bad in its own unique ways due to the fact, as Nat did say, about the fact that you'll be able to play with your mates no matter what platform they play on. But the issue that I will find with it for definite when it comes across PC players in particular with mouse and keyboard, like I will no longer touch Korean servers. Like I used to be able to play on American servers, and American servers, I'm just saying this now, don't take this as offense, anyone please. It's easy to kill Americans.
Okay, Billy, I'm going to stop you there. Okay.
But
I think we've had enough there.
I'm sorry, but I'm not being rude there. I'm being honest on that one. I've tried to go on to Korean servers, and they are hard as hell to play against on console. It's even harder when they're PC, because PC's even harder to play against.
Sure, but I suppose this plays into the point of the good thing being is that we don't have to play comp with the PC players, which is fine.
Yeah.
What I think is actually what I'm gonna like kind of try and make a point out of what you said in terms of servers, if that's okay. What I actually think is really good is that, especially in, well, you get it in every rank, but you get it more common as the higher you go up. But you get games when you queue for about 10 minutes, and then you check your ping, and you're on 160, because welcome to Saudi Arabia. You're now playing in Saudi Arabian servers, and you've got 160 ping, and you're going to lose a game because you can't play on 160 ping. And that's not your fault, but the game puts you there because there's just no one else playing in your server. I had it the other day, I was streaming, and this is like 3-5-ish, like not even like high masters, just low masters on this account. And 3 out of my 4 games that I played at the start of the stream were on US servers, because there weren't enough EU people online at like 1 in the afternoon, our time. And that to me is incredible that that's not possible to put a game together. But also, this could be something that Crossplay could fix. You know, if we get the Xbox players over from the EU side, then we get more games where there's more people online to put us into games with, which hopefully, you know, in an ideal world, could mean reduced queue times on certain roles. We don't know, we'd have to wait and see. But it could also mean, just generally, from a wider point of view, that we will be more consistently in games more consistently. You know, we're not going to get thrown around Europe or thrown around the Americas randomly, or end up in Australia somehow. Go on.
You know, with the whole crossplay coming, TG could make a squad for Overwatch for Xbox, PC, and the PS4.
Yeah, there's been talks of this. Very quiet talks that I can't give too much. Yeah, because it is a question of how would you think this
together? How would it work?
Yeah.
And how would it be balanced as well? That's the issue.
The thing that
that kind of interests me most about this
is what the TG aspect of it. Like kind of.
Yeah, so you could have a squad like, for example, our Wheat squad, but you could have the same rank but an Xbox team and have a scrim against each other.
Yeah.
That could be a test of like how the skill is on different platforms.
Oh, okay. So that I would love to see. I would love to see that. I just wouldn't like to see the two merge. That's where my head is that because I think they've said, what have they said, that you're allowed to queue like only on your own console, I think, and you could also queue like, and it's like a separate leaderboard as well for like the crossplay leaderboard, I think, for like a different SR system.
You've got crossplay on leaderboard console and then crossplay off for just PlayStation and
Right.
Marcos.
Okay. So I think in terms of TG, I think what was probably the most likely thing that we're going to see is I think things are going to probably stay relatively similar to how they are now. I don't think we're going to get any squads that are like inter-platform built to be that. I don't think. Possibly just because, to be honest, the Xbox side at the moment is very US dominated. We don't have many EU players on Xbox at the moment. But also just because it keeps things simple, it keeps them easy to manage. But then, scrims between platforms would be amazing. I'd even thought of that. That's a really good idea that I've just thought of now, that you've just thought of now, is that being able to, we could go against, Demon Squad or Incendio Squad from the Xbox side. Because like you said, there's Wheat PS4, which is the in squad. There's also Incendio, which is the in squad of the NA side. Yep.
What I'm going to quickly say is, you just said to Babble that he came up with the idea and you've came up with it. It's really just Babble.
I said me and then I changed to him as I realised that it wasn't me at all. I'm not going to try and...
I'm
not going to plagiarise his work.
Telepathically, we told each other.
Yeah, that's fine. We're on the same wavelength, like the chocolate in between matches. That's fine. It's all good.
Yeah. No one else needs to know about
that. That is the best kept secret that Wheat Squad has ever had, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. I really am. But yeah, no, it is a big question of what do we think logistically crossplay will mean in terms of like ranks. Do you think it would be harder playing with Xbox people or Nintendo Switch people, or do you think it actually make it easier to climb rank?
I think it would depend on the role they're on.
Oh really? What do you think would be the most impactful like role because of crossplay? What role do you think will take like the biggest hit? Do you think so really?
I
think if you get a Nintendo Switch support, you just lose.
Anyway. They're the glue that are going to keep you everything together.
Yeah.
But if you've got one on Switch that can't react as quickly as you can, maybe they can't get that nano win on you as you're jumping in, or something like that.
Sure.
They can't get crucial play.
I would say one very bad thing about the Switch is right now there's no way to communicate unless you're on a Discord call or some form of call that's not included on the actual console itself.
Well, I suppose this is us assuming that when when Overwatch goes crossplay, that the group chat feature will also go crossplay with it. So if you were grouped up with an Xbox player linked through the BattleNet server, which is what we're going to be using, then hopefully you'll be able to be in voice with a Switch player if they had a mic connected, which you can do on Switch. I think if you
there
can plug
is an option for going into chats on the Switch, but it's very tedious.
Okay.
And it's through the Nintendo Online app.
Oh, I remember how beautiful that app is. Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's really irritating and it takes so long to set up.
Something that I personally, from like just pure personal experience, I'm worried about as well, is that it's usually quite difficult to set up an Ethernet cable onto the Switch, and you have to get a adapter for it because it doesn't have one naturally on the console itself, and you have to like get a USB to Ethernet adapter to get it to work. So there could be an issue where if you were to opt for the crossplay setting and try and comp in there, that you could just get a lot of DCs from Switch players, or even Xbox players just getting server locks because of Xbox DDoSing that happens a lot more on the Xbox side, which we're lucky for on PS because we don't get it anywhere near as bad. But I've heard stories from friends that I've got who've played Xbox at like top 500 Xbox or anything close to it. It's just like a match of like whose servers can stay up the longest without getting DDoSed by the other team. Like it's just like a pure hack fest, and that's insane to me to like even think about. But like if that goes crossplay, there is a small risk of all of those kind of issues being pushed, like pressured together into like one little circle and like formed like a big mesh. I hope we don't see that. I hope there's stuff that they could fix with it. But I think there's always the risk of like more problems being created than it's worth. And also, I'm just annoyed because I just bought, I've got an Xbox now, and I just bought Overwatch on it for 15 quid. So that's just a waste of time.
Can I just counteract something that you just said about Overwatch being 15 quid on Xbox every so often? The issue that I find with one thing that they need to do now, and I know this is going off top for definite, with new and older games, like it's like Call of Duty Ghost, on PS Store that's still classed as 60 quid. Yeah. On Steam, it is much, much cheaper because they keep lowering the price. On PlayStation, Xbox, and probably Nintendo Switch.
Well, it ranted so hard about Ghost he died. You okay, Bullet? Welcome back.
Yeah, I just dropped my controller in my head.
Okay, ironically, in the rant about ghosts, he became a ghost himself, and that was quite unfortunate.
But yeah. They need to sort out where, when a game gets so old, they lower the price to whatever the developers or publishers turn around and say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
No, in Activision they won't lower the prices.
You see, that's just it, isn't it? It might be a question of it might just be a question of what the publishers are letting the consoles do, right? Maybe Steam probably have a lot more power over the games on their platform than PlayStation might do. which is why we
Yeah,
get
the
such
PlayStation,
interesting
yeah.
PS Plus monthly games. You know, they're just not games you want or games that have been out for 2 years. You know, this
To
is
be
why.
fair though, no, I will contradict that. The latest game that we have got, Star Wars Squadron, which actually I believe is part TG, ain't it? There's a
Yeah,
group for it, ain't it?
yeah.
It's not a 2-year-old game. It's less. It's just over a year old now,
hmm
and it's not a dead game.
But Bullet, it's been free
To
on
be fair.
Xbox since release.
Oh really?
Yeah, if you've got the
Plus, it's on
Xbox Game
PS
Pass,
Plus.
and it's on PS Plus.
Oh.
Unlucky
And
Bullet.
it's been free on EA Access for a long time as well.
Yeah,
Now
EA
this
Play
comes
for the
to
Xbox is huge
myself.
as well. Like that's just you didn't contradict yourself. You just got like unfortunate with the game. But no, Mr. J in the chat has put a really good point as well, which I kind of want to lean into a bit. Is that do we think that with the coming of crossplay, this could ever be a world where we see some kind of Overwatch going free to play, or do we think it's always going to be like a 60 quid plus game?
I'm gonna say I will see. To be fair, when Overwatch 2 comes out, they were talking about making it free to play.
Hmm.
They did say about it, and I do think it would go free to play because it'd be a good way for them to get more people into Overwatch and make them want to go, oh, I want Overwatch 2 now, or I like that Reinhardt skin that Buddy hasn't got, and I'll pay 50 quid for a load of loot boxes for Christmas.
Oh my, well, yeah. Do like almost
If you
like
do that, I'm sorry, but
I feel like investing in loot boxes is like genuinely burning money in front of your own eyes. It's just like it is an interesting one.
I'll just do league tokens.
League tokens, yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
is
look at
at least you know where the money's going.
Yeah, but look at Fortnite. That's what I'm saying. Look at Fortnite. Even though it's a battle royale, look how much money they've made. Even though it's little kids that are spending their parents' hard-earned money on it, and they've had incidents where kids have run around with the credit card and they spend like 500 to £1,000 just on Fortnite
Yikes!
skins.
Accidental 500 quid gun.
But yeah, simply put, if they did end up going free to play, I'm downright certain that there will be kids playing for a load of skins and going on into the games instead of playing the game. They're gonna go, look at this skin, it is beautiful. I am now a robot.
Thing is, it's
you're
something that
calling
you.
me out here, Billet.
You're getting Fortnite rolled.
I'm being
That's
called
unfortunate.
out.
I think an interesting point though, Billy, that you made is that like what you've said is actually just like a very true thing that a lot of devs outside of Overwatch do. Like because we look at Overwatch, we obviously play. Well, I personally play a lot more Overwatch than I do like most other AAA games. So we get the kind of like tunnel vision view on Aaron Keller's philosophy, Jeff's philosophy, what they want with the game. But like if you look at Call of Duty or other games like let's say Rocket League, okay, who I get are now owned by Epic, so the point is a bit less driven in the way I want it to be. But when you said, look at Fortnite, that's what a lot of games in the last couple of years have done. Because obviously there's this random success story that has got billions upon like trillions of dollars worth of revenue just by existing in front of children. Like you see that that free to play but then item shop pushed format everywhere now. You see it in go on, Billy. Yeah.
I know this is going definitely off Overwatch a bit, but you do get free-to-play games which are like Fortnite, which are those. So I'm closing a window as I speak. Which are you got your skins and stuff in front of your face, and it's not the best option for kids to be playing. Because I know my nephew plays it and he loves it, to be honest. And he's been trying to get me into it. Anyway, simply put, though, it's like you get free-to-play games out there. Like if Overwatch went free-to-play, I can see it being like a game like Warframe, which Warframe's been going on for 8 years, free to play. You can do everything you like without spending a penny. And if you spend your money, it goes straight towards the game and doesn't go into some developer's pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you as well. I think also, what is like the biggest thing that tends to happen when games go free to play? Like, the players who are already there don't really care, right? They just keep playing. But I think that they get like a massive influx of just new players. And I think for me personally as well, like just thinking about the state of Overwatch, I think the one thing that Overwatch needs the most at the moment is just life. A bit, but new players. We don't want level 25 accounts that aren't real people. How many times have you seen a level 25 account in comp and you've gone, oh, that's a new player. I hope they're enjoying their first competitive experience.
No.
No, that is a French man who's 3'8", like on his 18th Smurf account that's called "I will carry you" in whatever language it's written in. Look, it's a nightmare. But I think just having like that new pool of people in could be huge. You know,
Blood.
yeah, and this could
Going
be
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah, go on,
But
Bapple.
again, I will say, sorry.
Yeah, so with this, I think the only problem with free play would be for PC players. It's a lot easier for them to have alt accounts.
True,
It's like,
especially with
a
the
lot easier to have
crossplay
a lot
side.
more cases of smurfing on PC. Whereas right now they still have to
Wouldn't
purchase
it-
the game on their other accounts.
But it's already here.
I will
Yeah, we have it
expand
bad
on.
here just because you can make another account and
I
it's
will
connected.
expand on
It's fine.
Babble's. I will quickly expand on Babble's point here, especially with the fact that we just spoke about crossplay with everything that's meant to come with that. If crossplay does come to fruition, and they do go free to play, that's going to be a big issue with Smurfs through all platforms, no matter what platform you're playing on. So you're going to have like Smurf PC players, you have Smurf Xboxes, and also we've already got the Smurf PS4s, which I know some people do have Smurf accounts in TG, to be fair. I'm looking at you, Savali.
I only have 4. Shush.
Or shall I say Meow, Reeves?
Oh, Meowny Reeves. Meowny's got a couple, doesn't she, to be fair?
But
No, but to be fair, it's like...
Smurf accounts actually help you get your real rank, which is annoying, because I don't want to make Smurf and join the bandwagon, but at the same point, I'm now thinking I should make one so I can actually find out what my actual rank is, because I keep getting thrown down that bad.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate, but that is like... To be fair, that is one of the main reasons why people make them, though. Like, when I made Type Null about a year ago, the reason why I made Type Null is because Silvally was just, like, hard stuck in, like... I hated this account for a while because I got very, like... kind of, like, segued into being this one-trick support player that I hated. I was just like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this, but I don't know how to play anything else, so I'll make a new account to learn how to play DPS and tank properly, and then keep the support more or less where it is. And that's now given me the opportunity to have accounts like Kabalion, which are incredibly just goated on tank, but nothing else, because I can just, play Reinhardt and swing, and it happens, and it works. And, like, by making those alt accounts, yeah, it's like, you get the 1 or 2 games where people are going to be upset with you because you're in the rank that you're not supposed to be. But you get out of it almost instantly. If you're trying to get out of it, then that's fine. I'm okay, personally, with making alt accounts. When people make pure Smurf accounts just to bully, like, lower players, I don't get that. That is what I really don't like.
True on that. I'm actually just trying to find out where I can link my Overwatch account to see if I can get the beta to crossplay, sorry.
So what I was going to think about as well. I've actually had this idea for quite a long time, because I was once asked the question, okay, so how do you stop smurfing on consoles? And, I thought, make them make a Battle.net account and make the purchase of the game be through the Battle.net account instead of, like, through the PS Store. And my kind of thing was like, oh, okay, well, that's a bit, that's difficult to do because of the licensing on how PlayStation Store works. But maybe there could be a way where, with everyone having to make a Battle.net account on PS4, that you have to have, like, a confirmed, like, purchase register with Blizzard that says that you've got the game. So, like, every account would have had to have bought the game again. So basically having, instead of, bringing PC to our level, so letting them go fully free to play and having no players, like, players making free accounts everywhere. If Overwatch stays paid, maybe having the consoles go up to the PC level where, if you want a new account, you have to buy it every time, and then that would be a nightmare for Smurfs. And it's like, that, to me, because it's like, do you know what I really don't like about Overwatch at the moment as well? Is that there's been this stigma for a long time where if you see a Diamond Board or 5-star player in your game, what is your, like, natural first instinct? Like, usually.
What do you say, golden border, or do you say plat?
I'd say Diamond
They're
Board.
gonna be good.
If you see a Diamond Board or 5-star in your game, do you really?
I look at the diamond board and say, okay, this guy's played for a long time, let's see how bad he is.
Okay, but if you... Okay.
I'm not being rude, but
Think
half
my
of them
original
that came across, they're either A, they're very good, either Hitscan or Genji or Hanzo, or they're overall Grey Hog, or I'm talking about Choi there for definite, even though he's not Diamond back, he's used to be a top 500 in Hog, but anyways, get on top of there. But yeah, you get ones that are very good, or you got ones that have just played Overwatch that much that they now have this diamond board, they think they're God, but really they're just waiting on the floor saying I need healing from Mercy, sort of thing.
Bapple, what were you going to
So
say?
I think with this, there's one or two ways I look at it personally. It's either that they're a quick play warrior. It's like if they had their stats not private, it might just show that they've only done like 2 or 3 seasons of comp,
Yeah.
just because they
Yeah.
play quick play with friend, or it's someone that has been trying for years and maybe they're actually just hard stuck in this rank.
hmm But when like
True.
when you load into a game and you see that on your team you've got the 5-star diamond, and on their team they've got a level 31 bronze on DPS, like which one are you naturally going to be like more worried about, like playing well?
I would
The level
say
31, because I assume it's a Smurf.
Yeah, exactly, the Smurf player. And it's like, this is the thing that I hate, is that there's such like a... Like, I was really worried for a long time, because when Still Valley hit Silver Border, I had like a midlife crisis. Because it was like, I'm no longer in that kind of like cool kids range where if I'm not playing great, I'm more likely to get a message saying I'm throwing because I'm not a Smurf, right? Smurfs have got like this quite like tight-knit connection to each other where the Smurfs don't call each other throwers because they know what they're doing, like between each other. They know why they're there. But in like, you know, if you see a Smurf in a low rank,
Yeah.
then they're more likely to just, you know, win the game and get out of there quick, so they don't get ever
Yeah.
like flame messages or anything. But I think that the Diamond Border players get it really rough. Yeah, go on,
I'll be
Bullet.
able to quickly expand on what you said about nasty messages and stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
I will say about borders and stuff, I'm going off topic a bit again. I'm moving it over quickly to Rainbow Six Siege, because when I first loaded up Rainbow Six Siege, a year of not playing, I thought, I just froze myself straight back to rank. We about won, but I died at the end by failing to peak properly.
Yeah.
And I got a nasty message saying, uninstall this game, you're level 170 odd, and you don't know how to play. And then there was some very interesting language which I know not say.
Yeah, some fruity TG language, maybe. But no, this is the thing that happens, isn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's really annoying because I'm there, like, I just felt like an absolute piece of human burning garbage who should just jump in
tread
the
lightly.
bin and just set myself on fire.
Okay, good save.
I'm not swearing, don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not swearing.
we'll just
Taking a
about take
picture.
that. You're like tiptoeing on the tightrope of the grey area, but you're doing fine.
Yeah, you know me though. I dig myself my own graves for lacking to bury over and just burn me
Okay,
alive.
Bullet, let's relax a little bit on the grave talk. I'm very nervous about the tangent that we're going on, but it's okay.
Messages topic.
Okay, let
That's
me
kind of
quickly.
with
Yeah. I mean, he's proving a point.
With that,
in fairness.
sometimes the bits I get of messages, it's only ever when I'm playing Reinhardt or something in a game and someone messaged me because like maybe I've solo shouted them like 3 times, but I don't realise this. Because like maybe this is a nano Genji, like you're gonna shout at that.
Yeah.
And then you just see I see a massive paragraph of one of these games like, oh, you should actually learn to play the game. I just get a message
it's like
just
I'm
saying,
so sorry that I hurt
"Good
your
for you,
feelings
have
by
fun."
denying your ultimate. It's like I had this phase when what I would do is I would try and like was when someone got like very mentally boomed and messaged me like after a comp game, because you could always tell that they were like what mindset they were in based on like their first message. So I used to get into a phase when I'd try to like turn their rage like into pure happiness, or like just make them very confused. So what I would do, I had this account, I forgot what it was called, but I had an account a long time ago, and every time I'd get like an angry message on it, I would send him a message that'd be like, you look like you could do with some Japanese fluffy pancakes, and I'd send him a link to like this restaurant in Amsterdam that does Japanese fluffy pancakes. And the best thing that ever happened with that is I had a message from him back. What did he say to me? He said something like, he's like you're so unbelievably trash, uninstall right now, you're a waste of like space. And I said to him, you look like I said like the whole script's like, you look like you deserve a Japanese fluffy pancake. Send him the address. I said, take one out on me. And then he messaged me back. I said, thanks, but I'm still like he was like I'll consider it, but this is not the right situation.
Hello.
Hello, Onai, how are you doing?
Oh, sorry, am I interrupting?
Not at all. Do you know what this is?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what this is?
No.
Okay, so right now you are
Reaction to
currently on stream, and this is the Need Healing podcast. We're talking about the crossplay changes in Overwatch.
Oh,
Are you gonna
do
dip
not
with that
hear
news, or are you happy to stay for a bit, or what would you like to do? You're welcome to leave if you'd like to leave. It's okay. You don't have to stay.
yes, I'm gonna go.
That's okay.
That's
See you
okay.
soon.
Bye.
This is the funny thing that happens when you have these as open lobbies. To be fair.
I will say one thing to you over, what was you saying? I remember over toxicity and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say is it's easier to deal with than the toxic old adult who is having a go at you and all that, compared to a person who is much younger. So I'm not being rude to anyone. It's just the fact that some people are easier to get through to than other people. And I've had times where I play games and there's a guy who's I've never really 5 randoms who I've just formed a group with, and one of the people was literally it was a bad ride up. Don't get me wrong. 2 people in the team was going toxic on him, and one person was going toxic on the DPS, saying they weren't doing anything. At the end, I turned around and said, "Listen, just the person who's playing Reinhardt left." I said, "Listen, I'll take Reinhardt. You both chill down, please." Because then, as I said to him, if you're gonna keep shouting like this, I'm leaving, so you're not gonna help him play. And he both ended up calming down on me, and it's like, yeah, but I've played with kids who are playing Overwatch, and they are, there's no point trying to calm them down. It's just better to run or hide in the bush, just go and run and just do a tactical hide away.
God, I hate that because it's so true. It's like this community like sometimes can be incredibly toxic, and we are like I think the TG is like this little like bubble in like the middle of like a desolate wasteland.
Yeah,
like we're just somehow surviving.
It's much easier to play with members of TG compared to randoms. But I will say one thing: we are very lucky that we're not like Call of Duty or GTA 5. I have logged on to GTA 5, walked out my arcade, next thing you know is missile after missile after missile that just hit me. And then I just get a message
But that's just like, that's just playing against pharmacy though. That's just what that is. That's just the experience
that's
of
my
pharmacy.
worst nightmare now. That's just my worst nightmare. Next thing you're going to tell me Mr. J's going to pop up behind me again with a Dragon Blade this age.
Okay, the Genji Blade is the
Knock
least
some
scary.
rock, throw a rock at him, you'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I get you. Bullets
I
getting
still think the
flashbacks.
worst is if you have a pharmacy, and then your 2 DPS main Junkrat and Torb.
Oh my god, I had a game the other day. Oh, you don't even want to hear about it. I had a game the other day, it was on Numbani. Jay remembers this game very well. I think Rapper, you and Nat were both in when like Halo was watching that video of my stream. Okay, so like
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
So basically, right, so I was on tank. And as a tank player, right, which I think you should do fundamentally, because it's the right thing to do, is that if you've got any kind of flex potential, you're not a pure one trick, is that you should try and look at your tank partner's profile, see what their main role is, and if you can kind of like accommodate that in any way, fantastic, go for it. Try and help him out, give him a better time. I looked at my tank on the body defense, and this guy is a ball one trick. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll play Sigma. Because Sigma Ball used to be really strong. It used to be hard meta back in the day before they nerfed Ball's shields. It's still okay, still playable. So I pick Sigma, and this guy picks Orisa. And I go, okay, that's okay, I guess. Sigma Orisa, that's a comp that can be run. So then I go back onto his playtime and I check his playtime. Okay, so he's got, 6 hours of Ball, 1 hour of Zarya, 3 hours of Rhine, and he hasn't played Orisa since season 21, but that's okay. So he's playing Orisa, and in his season 21 he had 3 minutes on Orisa, but that's okay. He's clearly an expert. This must be a Smurf account at Silver Border, so we go with it. But then it's like he gets rolled on Orisa, and that's okay. It's understandable. It's not his main hero. I thought he'd go Ball. He goes Diva, which is great, but it's just again, it's like it's not anything that the guy plays. I just don't understand why sometimes people just pick random heroes, or like they just hard stock onto one hero.
It could be due to burnout, which I've suffered a few times.
But it's like
like certain heroes, for example, me. It's like back when this was back in Wii Squad when I would turn around and call a junk one trick one smaller. At the time though, I've just managed to start playing DPS because half the time I was being forced to play healer. Not really by TG members, it was from 2 people who I was playing online with. One of them being, I can't remember the first person's name because I don't play with them anymore, and the other one was called Ed.
Okay.
And they who only play DPS, I did not know how to take tank. All I knew what to do was DPS and Moira. That's why my damage is over 1 million. Yeah, I did say DPS Moira. I used to be a DPS Moira for 3 months.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. He's reformed. We've reformed him since. He's okay.
Yeah.
He's well recovered from those times.
I won't suck the life out of you. Don't worry.
Thank you. Please don't. God, what a hero.
Unless I'm trying to kill Mr. J who's playing Genji.
Yeah, I can appreciate
It
that.
always goes full circle back to Jay's Genji.
Poor Mr. J. This is like when I was commentating the first night. Like it would just be completely irrelevant, but I'd end up flaming OG for no reason.
Oh yeah, no. I'm pretty sure someone clipped all of them. So look, he's spamming in the corner again. It's
So
like,
this is what he does
I
best.
still think one of the best moments was your reaction to the final game, that what we had to play.
Oh my god, when Lakin told me, he was like, hey, Sil. I was like, hey, Lakin.
Bastion.
He was like, you're gonna like this. I was like, oh, okay, because I, was a fool and believed him. He was like, oh, you're gonna like this. I was like, oh, in my head it was like, oh, Ryan Zarya, maybe Ryan Brig, maybe Echo plus, and he was like, yeah, Orisa Bastion. I was like,
Oh.
yikes. Because with respect, how the hell do you commentate Echo like with Orisa Bastion gameplay? Like, what? I think one of the things I said, I think it was we were watching Arctic's point of view, and I was like, he's moved, like he stood up. It's like when he's gonna sit down, he's gonna sit down now. Arctic's sitting down on point. Huge, like riveting gameplay.
That's the best thing. I
Can I
played
just
to Metro
say
just so I could
one thing?
teleport him so he'd moved.
Oh my god, the Sim TP. It was so funny when it was on Night Market and there was a Bastion, one each in each window of the point. Just like they couldn't see each other, but they could both see the teams down below. Like a little E-date together in the windows.
I will quickly say about Bastion, and I'm not being rude on Two-Town here, but every time I hear Bastion, I just think about him playing Bastion.
Mhm.
Because he is pretty much a Bastion main.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but that's okay.
I've never seen
a
that.
Bastion main?
Yeah,
Two-Town's a Bastion mate.
to be fair, he is.
oh, I don't know
And that is the rest. We're going to talk about that before we say something very mean
That's
to
all
our
we
lovely
need to talk
Toontown.
about.
We love Toontown. Toontown's great.
No, not gonna say anything mean.
Best place, best
He
place.
just keeps wanting us to join the train of Bastions, but I don't like the Bastion train. I like it, but I don't like
The
it.
Bastion train is a very scary place.
Yes, it is.
Do you know what I love about
Remember, no
like
orbs.
there's just certain heroes like Bastion which are like I see them as like gatekeeper heroes for certain ranks. Like you know that you're a certain level when you can deal with this hero, and I think it goes like Bastion, Doom, Genji, Pharah. I think Pharah's like the peak. Like when you can consistently like deal with a Pharah, that's like you've hit like high diamond GM at that point. Like that's the level. It's just so weird, especially on console. Again, another reason why I'm looking forward to a bit of like just like quick play, crossplay. It's just so that you don't have people picking pharmacy and quick play, but just get rolled by PC players
Yeah.
that can shoot up, and it's going to be great. Like it's going to be so much better. I don't know. I
I
think.
feel like that'll be all the Switch players will know is just Pharmacy and Bastion.
Oh my
I
god.
just have a feeling that you're just gonna have here's a bad combination for you. A Switch Ana,
Oh my.
a no mic Zenyatta.
No Mike.
We'll just
He's
No
just
Mike
experiencing
Zenyatta.
tranquility on his own.
No mic Zenyatta, or I'm not gonna be rude here, but Egg plays Zenyatta and just stands in halfway through a match. I think
Egg-
he was there when she did last.
Egg is a very interesting Zen. This is true.
Yeah.
but
Then,
thing is,
the next one would be Bastion, a two-town Bastion.
would you like the TG
Yeah,
mains power rankings?
A untrained Leona Reinhardt. I'm not being rude on you, Leona. Your Reinhardt came a long way since last time
Yep.
I saw you play Rolly. But when you first started, all you did was walk forward, you shield up. Me playing probably ball, because I don't know how to play ball. And then, what's it called? Why won't it let me exit?
I just don't know what's
I'm trying
happening
to
anymore.
think.
I think it's great.
And then,
yeah, I'm
and then,
really.
But it just turns up. We're now
then
just like it's
finally
now his
Latin
podcast. We're
playing.
just flaming everyone. Like
Sorry.
no, it's okay, Philip.
Frenemies.
We've gone into like the
That's
bullet
it, that's
zone.
it,
This
that's
is the bullet zone when we'll have like the bullet segment. We just flame everyone for like half an hour. Oh my god. No, but like
Yeah, I'm sorry, I went-
we were meant
I
to
did
talk about this
go-
earlier a little bit, but we kind of went on that whole story time tangent. But one of the things I did like about the Scrim Night as well is that it was competitive in nature, but then kind of the mix-up elements of you get random team comps sometimes, random heroes you have to play, random heroes you can't play. I think Reaper got banned twice and was a compulsory pick. Like that was how the random number generator went with our picks.
No. So we had Hanzo as a compulsory pick, and I think that was the only game he got played, and then he got banned the next game.
It's just such weird. There was a game with like I don't know. It's something that I always find really strange. It's just no one in TG plays Brig apart from me, and Sevi. Like no one plays Brig. So when Brig got banned the other night, nothing changed. Like nothing changed. Like she wasn't gonna get picked anyway. But God, it's just weird.
Well, I think the only compulsory pick that gets me when I have to play it is Baptiste.
Oh, why
For
is
one
that?
sport I can play, but
Yeah.
I can't do both DPS and healing very well.
Baptiste
kind
is
of
like
switch.
he's meant to do as much damage as you can without letting your team die. Is the way I see it. Is that I play him very much like I play Zen, where like your healing and damage average pretends are quite similar. But you're just like playing for like aggressive immos and trying to like just basically let the Rhine do whatever he wants, but just make sure he like kind of doesn't die. I don't know. Baptiste is weird. He's very strong because immo exists. I actually really like the change that they put forward in the what was it the April Fools. Do you remember that April Fools experimental when Sigma was flying
Yes.
and May was a tank?
Oh, the Zenyatta that you could just fly as well for a little
And
bit.
there was like just chunky May on tank with McCree that had more tumbleweed. What I actually really liked the Baptiste change that they did when they made it like a defense field where like you just take less damage in that radius, as if everyone had like 200 armor. I actually really like that as like a change because I think
That
immo
was
is just
really good.
ridiculous. But I think if they could rework immo, then
I think that's how they do it.
I hope so. I really hope so because it actually looks like it's like fun to play against at that point as well, right? Like it's not just
Yeah,
like
it's
oh
more
they just
fun
live.
than just having they can't die here.
Oh well, you did a full combo as Doomfist. Unfortunate, they just live. Like it doesn't matter what you do. I don't know. It's something to look forward to. Hopefully, I mean we've just seen the new Baptiste look for Overwatch 2 as well with Sombra. I like that Sombra actually has hair physics for once, which is great. Her hair moves. It didn't before. She was using all that Mexican
whoa.
hairspray. I was going to say like this is riveting gameplay. A thought that I had is, do you think that when Overwatch 2 comes out, that Overwatch 1 will go free to play and just be like an update hub for Overwatch 2? Or do you think that the game Overwatch 1 will just completely like cease to exist?
I think a bit of both might happen in this situation, but I think it depends on how Overwatch, like the dev team, are going to put this through.
It's because we
'Cause
got
it could
told
easily
originally,
go
right?
both
Yeah,
ways.
they told us originally that it was like, oh, you know, Overwatch 2 is going to be like just a free update for Overwatch 1, but it'll be like all the new content, and then you could buy the new game to get like the PvE stuffs and stuff. But it's the amount of stuff that they've shown, and the amount of like details and like the engine and stuff that is just so different. I just don't see how they could just update Overwatch 1 without it being like a 200 gig update. Like, do you know what I mean? Without releasing
It's
it as
just
like
a new game. It feels
yeah,
like.
it's just a whole new game, and it's like I don't know which way they're going to lean with it. If they're going to make it so that you can still play comp maybe on Overwatch 1, but then that's kind of it. Or maybe if they're going to have, I don't know. I have no clue how they're going to do it. It's just like I can't wait to hear more because we've seen, especially with crossplay now being announced, there's just so much that's like on the cards at one time that they really could just be, you know, flicking between what are we going to do this, maybe this, maybe this. They just have no idea, right? It just feels like, but there's always so much that's available. And I don't know, it's like I would love to have like a day in that dev room and just listen to like what they're remotely planning. Like even if it's like
Go in
you
there
know,
when they release Brig.
just go in there with a loaded shotgun when they release. Like just boys, I have a plan. Don't
Nope.
no, bless them. But unfortunately, that's the thing. It's like what something we spoke about last week is that we were hoping that when Overwatch 2 comes out, that they would have at least 4 heroes added to the roster, like 2 DPS, 1 tank, 1 support. But the thing that made it really difficult is that the devs have spoken about this before, is that putting a DPS into the game is easy because the DPS doesn't change too much of like the meta when you put it in, because it's just a different way of doing damage. And like when Echo came in, she was a bit busted. People used her for a week, then they nerfed her, and now she's just like good, right? But she's still like McCree, Hanzo, Ash are still like decent as well. Widow, funny hero, like you know, there's just a lot of good heroes like that. But when they put a support in the game, every time they put a support in the game, the meta like massively shifts around that support. Second Brig came in, we got goats. Second Baptiste came in, we got like double shield rush with Immo. Like everything just like completely turns on its head when a support enters the game. And I'm just worried that they're gonna get like really scared because of like old experience with Brig, that they're just gonna like refuse to add anymore. I don't know. It's like I really want them to like try and find a way to balance it, but maybe even a world where there's only one tank, the supports might be easier to balance because it's just focusing the buffs onto one role instead of like 2 like split roles. of like the main off tank.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like with Overwatch 2, it's going to be more so instead of when a new support comes out, like it's been with this game. I feel like it's going to be anytime a new tank comes out, that could be a new meta around that one tank.
Because it's now a lot more specific, isn't it, to that one role? I guess.
Yeah,
Like if a
and
new
I
like
think they,
beast main tank comes out that's just better than Rhine, then Rhine just never gets played again.
yeah, 'cause I think they're trying to make tank into more of a brawler role anyway, so it's not a full tanking role.
Yeah, I see what you
I
mean.
believe they're making all the main tanks less about the shields, but then they're making the off tanks more tanky.
Yeah, they're basically. I think they're just like trying to turn everything like into a main tank sneakily without telling anyone. Like nobody's snitched, but Zarya's now got 2 bubbles that she can give herself or like give allies. It's like she's now just a main tank, like Winston would be. I don't know. I think I just think there's a risk of like this is something we spoke about last week as well. I think one of the big issues that we're going to have is that I want Overwatch to be in a state like we've had it recently. We had actually a couple of weeks ago where before they nerfed Rhine again, although Rhine still gets played, but before they nerfed him again, we were in a space where dive, rush, double shield, and like double bubble were all viable comps and were all like relatively equally strong, and there wasn't like one meta that was just winning, which was so good for like the opening weekend of the Overwatch League again, because when Overwatch League started up again, all the teams were playing completely random stuff. It was a different team
I
comp from
love that.
every
That
single
was the
team.
best weekend for me.
Yeah, because no one had like a defined meta yet. No one exactly knew what was best because everything seemed viable, right? And that to me is great. And when Overwatch 2 comes out, with there only being one tank, I want there to be, you know, dive comps that are good, rush comps that are good, brawl comps that are good, you know, whatever they decide to go with. I just worry a little bit that they might get into a space where some heroes are just bad. You know, like maybe Wrecking Ball as a tank is just bad, like, and he just doesn't get picked ever. I just don't want them to turn into it like where like the only things you can play realistically are like Rhine, Winston, Zarya, and everything else is just like worse. And I think that when they bring a new tank in as well, they might bring a new tank in, and then that tank just becomes dominant, and then like it like replaces another tank. Like how Sigma, to be honest, kind of like replaced Rhyme for a bit because the shield was just better because it had more HP and you
Yeah.
could just like throw it whenever you want.
And then to some extent, so when he was first out, he was just a better hog.
Yeah,
So like, if you can play
100%.
hog there, you can play Sigma better.
Exactly. And it was just like, why wouldn't you?
Especially when he had no cooldown on that barrier at first. I
Yeah, but
found
the
that
barrier
so
was like a one.
stupid.
Oh, that was such a hard change for me to like get used to as well when they put this cooldown on the barrier. You couldn't just like throw it back and forth. Welcome back,
What have I
Meowly. How are you? You missed. What did you
Warm.
miss? You
The
missed.
bullet segment.
You missed the bullet zone happened. Yeah, we had the bullet zone, where we just ranted about toxic people, and then we power ranked TG very quickly and stopped because we were getting in a risk of. But no, it's all
We
good.
did half a power rank and then we realised we shouldn't do any more of this.
We probably should not power rank people within the own division. Like we probably should not do that. It's okay. We got out of the bullet zone just about as quickly as we went into it, which was all good. You there, still bullet? You okay?
Does the silence mean yes?
Has he become a ghost?
I'm still here. Don't worry.
That's
I'm
okay.
I am calling you on the phone.
That's okay.
Okay, have
Thank
fun.
you, bullet. Have fun. But yeah, no,
I'll
Meowly, we
try
were
and
just.
have fun.
He will do. Good man. But yeah, we were just talking about crossplay, our opinions on crossplay, and I suppose Meowly, we kind of missed you for a segment, didn't we? So now that you're back, what are your kind of thoughts on crossplay? And we'll pick up if there's anything that we've already mentioned, and try and go into detail.
I mean, I'm excited for it, because obviously we have multiple different squads over the different consoles and PC, so that we can actually get to know other extensions of our division. And then it's a case of, you know, if we have friends that say have an Xbox, so we can't play with them. It's nice that they're starting to bring introductions over, not just in this game, but in other games. So I think it's bringing people together a lot more.
Yeah, like those walls might seem a bit more transparent, maybe instead of just like pure opaque blocks between consoles. You know, we could peer in through the window and be like, oh, there is an Xbox player over there. Oh, hi. You know, like.
I think that's been the funniest thing with Overwatch is that it's a team shooter, but a lot of times you can't group up with your friends because they're on another platform.
Yeah.
So you're kind
I'm
of going
quite
into the
glad that
gamble
you
of
can't comp
teammates.
with PC though, because like PC are just on another level.
Yeah, that would be weird, wouldn't it? It's like I can agree with that. Again, like I think they might end up. I think they'll say it now because for like the publicity, but I think they might do something similar with Switch because Switch is just like it's like Switch is below console and then PC's above console. Like there should be like a bit of a barrier between both. I think because Switch is a bit scuffed. But what I'm looking forward to as well, like something I thought about just as we've been talking, is that amount of games that we go into where you like could almost recognize the full enemy team because you've just seen them before, like so many times, like because of queuing into them over and over again, maybe. But like being able to like,
It's fresh opposition.
yeah, having a whole new like player base to play against or to play with, it's going to be fun and it's going to like reduce that whole like, especially like higher games when you just get thrown into the NA servers because there just isn't enough
Speaking from
people online.
experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't want to go on a trip to Saudi Arabia without being told. So if I can end up in EU constantly because of being more EU players on Xbox, then for me that's huge. That's going to be a massive part of me queuing at early morning times maybe or early afternoon times without worrying that I can get a game.
I think I'll make comp more balanced in a sense because where we've got this like whole new sort of player base to have access to. Places like I'm guessing on consoles like Xbox, it's harder to have Smurf accounts, whereas on PlayStation, it's so easy. Like I think we have the highest rate of Smurfs
I think so.
on this console.
Hmm.
So you're the likelihood of having a more balanced game. You don't have to stress out because there's like 4 or 5 Smurfs on the enemy team. You could have a genuinely balanced game more frequently, and the queue times will be reduced because then it's a case of there's more players, so we don't have to wait as long. So I'm finding a lot of pluses, but it's also a case of there probably will be some like negative downfalls to it, but we again, this is all speculation until it
Yeah,
actually
it's
comes
like
into play.
that's again. This is like the Overwatch 2 talk we had last week. So everything we know is just
Yeah.
pure speculation. We don't know until we try it, and I think that there's always going to be a list of pros and cons, whether we've tried it or not. I think there's always going to be things that we'll realize are maybe might be different in a way that could be fun, but might be different in a way that also needs to be careful, that needs to be looked over. But yeah, there's always stuff like that that's going to be in and around. But I think genuinely having that wider player base is just going to be so huge, just to kind of like have the opportunity to expand as like a game, because I think one thing that we said is like the main thing that Overwatch needs, and it probably would benefit if it went free to play, is just like having fresh faces. Like when you see a level 25 account, you think, oh, that's a new player, instead of, oh, that's a Smurf. Because it's always the second like at the moment because of just how little people play the game new at the moment because of how old it is, without having too much like publicity, and still not being free to play is just such an off-put for so many people as well.
But luckily, with Overwatch 2 having more announced and stuff like that, it might be piquing people's interest to start the game.
Yeah, it's like
So
yeah.
hopefully, like there'll be a new onslaught of just newer, like genuine levels
I hope
instead
so.
of
I hope so.
just
I think it'll be
GM
really
Smurfs
I think it'll be really scuffed for the first like couple of weeks. Because there's gonna be so many people that will just be like there'll be natural GM Smurfs because they're just good players from the other game that are starting fresh on Overwatch 2. But I think that'll quickly balance itself out. Maybe the accounts might stay somewhat linked, and there'll be like a memory of Overwatch 1 as to what level they were. Try and cue them into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, welcome Fluke. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi.
See you
Hello,
sneakily sitting in there.
hello.
How you doing, man? You alright?
I'm doing alright, just finished dinner, but I might
Oh, yeah?
pop in.
Is there anything you want to give your thoughts on in terms of crossplay, or even we could even go back to the script lines
Crossplay?
if you, yeah? It's up to you.
I think crossplay is gonna be good. I mean like it's just queue times in general is just gonna be that much shorter.
Yeah, I said this as well. Like having queue times that are short and also like on your own servers is going to be consistently so like it's going to be nice to like not queue and worry. God, I hope I don't go to like NA. Check your
Yeah.
ping. It's not 110. Thank God. Just like not have that worry in the first place will be so like relieving.
The simple pleasures in life.
Literally, no, it's going to
Yeah.
be but it will just be like a quality of life change, wouldn't it? In terms of that.
Definitely.
But yeah. Right. Where are we in terms of things?
And
We've
stuff.
spoken about
We're roughly over there.
Oh right, so I wanted to. One of the we're getting there. To be honest, guys, we're getting there. I feel sorry that Fluke's just joined. One of the last little things we're going to talk about before we stop tonight is we're just going to try and compare. We did it a little bit earlier, naturally, kind of like just in the conversation, but try and compare the experience of maybe crossplay outside of Overwatch compared to crossplay within Overwatch, and see if there's any games that we think would run similar that we've played or that we know of, or any kind of like already existing formulas that we'd like Overwatch to maybe try and copy a bit, or maybe like try and leech from in terms of like taking good aspects from that we've seen in other games. Has anyone played any crossplay games that they think, God, I really hope Overwatch does something like that?
Play cross-platform games, but I've never played one which I hope they'll copy.
Yeah, in a way. All games that you have played, either or.
I've only played Warzone and I didn't like it.
Oh, okay, maybe not. So let's maybe leave Fortnite and Warzone out of this one. I think we'll go somewhere else with that.
I can't think of many that are cross-platform, if you know what I mean.
For me, the big one is Rocket League. I play a lot of Rocket League, and it's been crossplay for a very long
I didn't even know
time.
that was crossplay. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been crossplay for a very long time. I think it was like after year one it went crossplay, and it's now free to play as well. So it's just like free to play and crossplay. So there's just so many players, and it's so easy to group up as well. Like they have such a good system because they do it all through like the kind of like, again, because of the way that Overwatch is going to do it is through the Battle.net system that they've kind of created their like personal server. I hope that they do something very similar to what Psyonix has done with Rocket League, where Psyonix has got their own personal server that they use, and everyone's like accounts are linked on there, unless like your like Epic Games account is what you'd use if you're on PC maybe. But that is the way that like it's almost got like its own hub outside of PSN as like a way to interact. It's like the second you open the game, it's like you're not really on PlayStation anymore. You're kind of you're just on Rocket League. It doesn't really matter what console you're playing it on or where you're playing it. You're on like a different server that lets you interact with everyone no matter what, and it seems very equal and balanced. The only thing you can't see, that to be honest, the only thing that would ever give it away that you're not on the same platform as someone else is that you can't see their profile pictures when you queue into them, and it would just have like it would say like Psyonix Network as like their profile picture for people that aren't on your platform, because we can't see Xbox things because we don't have the data for it, or obviously if someone's got like a Steam random profile, we can't see that. But I really hope that with the Battle.net, I want them to desperately try and use it as like this like hub of like new features as well. Like have it as like almost like a Discord server, right? You know how we go into like an LFG on like a Discord server, it's like all run in there. Like have the Battle.net be like the kind of place where you get information, where you get stuff from the game as well, but also have it as like where all the social stuffs are. Have everything like in one place, like other games do. I don't know. I think that could really work. It's just my thoughts on it.
My biggest hope from this is that knowing crossplays here is that I'm hoping that they're going to be announcing clans and stuff soon.
Oh, that would be that. We've been wanting that for years, right? Like every other game does it as well. I can't believe it's taken so long. There's like things that people said like clans, like the ping system as well, like trying to indicate where things are without being in voice.
Kind of Apex in a way.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? If they could do it properly, maybe have like a wheel for it.
Like the lower ranked games of some competitive people, because you're just not going to have people in your voice channel.
And just because like just revamp the I need healing wheel, put something else there that just makes it easier to actually figure out what's going on. So just so you don't get like low rank DPS that are just spamming with like to no avail.
Like, oh, I'm at this house.
There actually is some there is other than I need healing, there's I need help actually.
Yeah, I need help, but
when
what
no
is
one
like?
no one uses
I use that one instead now.
I used to use it, but then I think I used it for a little bit because I just preferred it over because I didn't like the whole I need healing stigma. But I feel like your supports, especially when it used to be like only the supports that could see I need healing, but then everyone could see I need help. Do you remember when that was a thing? But now everyone sees it because it says like we need a healer. Like it tells you if you're not a support. Like when it used to be when everyone could see I need healing, you would get healed less if you said I need help, because like your supports just wouldn't care because they wouldn't read it. But if you say I need healing, you just get a better like response on average. It's just I just hate when people like abuse it and spam it, and there needs to be like a better thing for that, I think. But no, if they could do like a proper ping wheel, like similar to like Apex, like you said, or even like Battlefield, basically, that would be quite good. Obviously, Sevi and I have bashed that out recently a little bit. We know what that's like. But just something a bit more specific as well. Like we've spoken a lot about recently. About like well, I say it's been spoken about, like call outs have been a recent thing that have been spoken about in the higher up chain. They've been making new map designs for specific TG based call outs, but having like call outs in game through a ping, being able to say like up high or wherever, having that as like part of the actual game's like wheel circuit to like communicate a bit better might actually be huge. Like having something like that you could ping towards, or put like a little point or marker on a map and say there, look, I don't know, whatever, I don't know what you might say, or what the game might make
Yeah,
me
'cause we
say, but
discussed that last
Well, I
week.
yeah,
Enemy over there or something.
yeah, like
So
anything.
I believe there's I think another game, Paladins. They have something like that
Oh
with
my.
things where you can. I know, like very different, but you can kind of say like, oh, pushing middle or like pushing left. So you can say where you're pushing or where the enemy is as well.
Hmm.
It's like enemy down right flank. I think you can say, for example, or something.
It's like Overwatch compared to games like Paladins, which Paladins was a meme when it first came out, because it was just like not Overwatch. Like it was
Yeah,
like
it's
the whole
just
game.
another Overwatch.
Maybe Overwatch. Like there's a turtle that's got a hook, and there's like random stuff that looks like Overwatch heroes, and it's like a bit scuffed.
Yeah.
But
So, Valley, I
But
will
the
be
amount of
talking in the next 10 minutes. I just gotta go somewhere.
that's okay. But we're probably going to finish up in that kind of time. So if you need to go, that's fine. You can go.
If I get back before stream ends, I'll say goodbye. If
That's
I'm
alright,
not,
bud.
then I'll be on myself, just sat there,
Okay.
just no one.
Well, maybe we'll try and avoid that. But we'll wait and see. That isn't the plan, Bullet. Don't worry. But yeah, no. I mean, just having like maybe even when crossplay comes, having a new communication like wheel that you can use in between platforms like PC, because I know PC's got a lot more like access to the chat as well. Maybe having, for once, having a universal chat where you can type things in. As PC can do this, obviously that opens up a bit more of a risk of fruity language in games. But
Yeah.
they probably
It's
should
gonna
know
take
by
a
now
while,
how
but-
they can deal with it. But the fact that that's always
And-
been a thing on PC,
Spicy language.
never a thing on console, I think has been a bit of a detriment to console players. There's always a bit of like, being able to communicate with your team without having a mic, what you should play, has always been difficult. Like if you want someone to switch, maybe like, or you suggest a switch for yourself, like say, oh, I might go Winston. What do we think? Like if you could say that without actually having to turn on the mic and talk about, then maybe that'd be huge. That's an echo. Oh my! What is that? Did
The
we hear
thing
that?
is, with the typing issue, yeah, I did
Yeah,
hear it.
that's okay. I think it was Babel. It's alright.
Is how are we gonna pull that off? Because unless we get the keyboard attachments like we used to do on the 360 controllers, I had one of those.
Yeah.
Quite a keyboard, so they're
Oh
wonderful.
my! One of those lovely
Um,
things.
Is the case? It takes. I would say it would take too long, and
I
you
was
could
gonna
run the
say
risk
same thing.
of like being timed out and stuff like that.
Maybe.
Like even if you're typing like a couple of words, you still gotta move across the
Yeah, it
keyboard.
takes a second, doesn't it? I think maybe then having it as like something that's only available like in between rounds, like maybe
Or
at like the
maybe if they
half-time
did
split.
have this, there could be maybe a quick chat method. So
Yeah.
you could automatically put part of a sentence together for you. It's like, and then maybe it will suggest some players from your team. Like, can this player change?
That would be funny. To be fair, if they did that, like an autocorrect system of doing it.
But
Can this man feed? Like, can you imagine? Oh, that would be actually. I'd love to see that. Just for like almost like a second round of April Fools, I'd love to see that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I think if that could be put into practice, that would be massive.
I
But
do
it'll be
think so.
finding the way to do it because, as we said last week, a lot of the time, people can be in voice channel, but they don't want to talk. It might be because they're sort of socially anxious, and so they're listening to the call-outs of everyone else, or they're not confident speaking because, like, the majority might be speaking in a different language to them. There's so many different sort of things that can be attributed. It's just trying to find the happy medium.
I think the
I
good.
think some things I
Yeah,
know
no, go on,
about
yeah.
that is that some people, they don't talk and they just sometimes, like, let's say if someone's playing like late at night or something, and like the comms are very loud, so you'd have to speak louder to get to them.
Yeah.
But then, depending on how some people, like in their living situation, they may not be able to do that. So then they kind of need to stay quiet.
No, I completely agree. I think like just the necessity to have that like flexible option so that everyone kind of has an option at least is huge. And I think the good thing is that we're talking very like speculatively, what we hope we might see or what we could see or maybe what we'd want to see if things were built around our mindsets of it. But we're in a good phase where kind of we can tell that the devs know what the problem is because they've mentioned that they're going to try and do something about it. We don't know what they're going to do, but they've mentioned that it's something that they know is happening and that they're aware of. So if it's something that they know is happening, then at least we know that they're going to dedicate time and try and play tests and find a solution to, which I think is really positive. I think the fact that it's not just an issue that we're saying, God, we wish that they'd acknowledge this, or like, we wish that they'd try and do something about it. The fact that we can sit here and go, we're just waiting to see what they show us. We're waiting to see what they come up with, but hopefully it'll be something big that will massively go forward and impact the game in a positive light. That obviously everything Overwatch 2 we're hoping is just an increase of the popularity of Overwatch 1 in terms of like the player base and also like just the game itself being better. Hopefully, we need to wait and see, but I think we've got to put a lot of faith in them, because I think that, to be honest, they know that they're making big changes. Like with the 5v5, that's already a huge change that we've been shown, but I think they know that they need a little bit of time just to iron out some of the kinks and get things sorted out properly. So I think I'm quite comfortable being able to sit back and kind of just like relax and have the little thought of, oh, that'd be nice if they did this, maybe they'll do this, but kind of like waiting for the next announcement. And I do love the fact that, even though, we've lost Jeff and we've now got Aaron and the dev team's been shaken up quite a bit, but we're still getting frequent big announcements. We've had the Overwatch 2 announcement, now we've had Crossplay. This is huge. These are like 2 weeks apart. This is incredible. It's like the amount of content we've had in the last month has already been like quadruple what we've had in the last year, to be honest, in terms of like Overwatch content. So I think we're in really safe hands, is my mindset.
I think the only thing I was worried about before we had this consistent update is when they said before Crossplay was announced that it's going to come out between soon and really soon.
It's like, please just give me a date. It's like
game developers, that could be a week.
Yeah.
And then Overwatch, that could be 6 months to a year.
Basically, like, considering how long they've spoken about some things, like soon to really soon could just be like actually 2023, and it's like, please don't leave us until then. But
So I know Crossplay is going to be before the end of the season.
Yeah,
I believe in the developers.
Really? Do you think that soon?
No, I'm pretty sure.
Because we're already in beta.
Yeah. I believe in the developer update it said the Crossplay will be coming in before the end of the season, but competitive will not be happening till season 29. Thank you, babe. My other half showed me it, and he's just like there, thumbs upping thing.
Oh, is he? Oh,
So it'll
okay.
be coming around the same time as the Summer Games event then, around that time.
Feels like
Which will be an amazing time to do it, because obviously there's this new event, so people are going to be coming in for the skins and to check them out
Lucia
and
Ball,
what's
the
available.
Switch
The Lucia Ball. But there'll be the influx anyway, and then they've got the excitement of you can share it with other people. And it's just perfect, but I think that it's gonna crash and burn very quickly, but then pick up, because I don't think they're gonna expect the amount of crossplay that's going to happen.
I think they'll be swept off their feet a bit, but I think they'll try and find their footing quite soon after, which should be quite nice.
Well, I think the one thing I'm hoping with Crossplay now is that maybe with this there might be a few more different changes that console players get compared to PC in some balance.
I mean, this is the hugest change that consoles had for years. Everything else that we'd get is usually like the scrapes off the dinner plate of the PC players. The little leftovers after their bouquet.
The crumbs.
Can
I have some crumbs?
Yeah, please, sir, may I have some more? And it's like, this is basically, we do get the backhand treatment quite a lot because PC is the main advertised game, and there's like the competitive scene, which something that excites me a little bit is I've, having played in this kind of area for a while, there's always been talk about console contenders, console Overwatch League. Why isn't there? Why is there like no sign from Blizzard that they're even like that they could even see us? Like acknowledge us, please. Just let us know that we're there. But like with this crossplay change, it's the most like healthy, involved change that Blizzard have made for console players for so long. They didn't have to do this. No, like we've been asking for it for ages and not giving it to us, but like we would have still been okay playing the game without it. But they've made it consciously, with it really having no benefit to PC. It is more just a console quality of life change because of the comp aspect, and also getting to play with more people on console. There's enough people on PC to keep PC occupied. This is a big console change, and this could mean things in future like console esport, console Overwatch League, console contenders, whatever. But more Blizzard brought about things instead of things that the console community has made for themselves. If the devs are going to put some light onto it and really, be all inclusive and not just be fully focused on the PC side like they've been for years, to be honest, then this could be like the dawn of a new era for console Overwatch, and it could really be a reason, where people for once might have to think, okay, I don't need to get a PC to be the best player
I
that I
hope
could be.
this is where it's going to go, because if there is then a competitive Overwatch League level of console play, then maybe the game could get split where the console might get balanced differently because different metas are played on console compared to PC.
Thing is, this used to be a thing that happened a long time ago. There used to be Pharah used to be faster on PC. She'd move in the air quicker. Torb turret used to do. Torb turret used to, yeah. I think Torb turret used to do more damage on console. Was a thing as well. Like before they brought them all together, there was like lots of little changes that just by the way that people played that used to happen. But when they kind of like went into full competitive mode with PC, they got rid of those for console as well. But we could, like you said, we could see patch changes that are platform unique or like competitive sphere unique. We might see a crossplay nerf to Symmetra. Maybe she just gets removed. That would be great. But we might see that for
Hopeful.
maybe
Wishful
Junkrat just gets
thinking.
yeeted out of the game in console. We don't know. Like
Excuse me.
Even that
that-
with Junkrat, that'd be brilliant.
yeah, so that would be. I'm fine with this. Us main tank players, we stick together. Yeah, but we see. We
Always,
know what the
always.
problems are.
See, I remember going into a local game store and they had like trials for competitive teams for different games, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's an Overwatch one," and I looked at my best friend, and he just knew I was obsessed with it anyway. It's his fault. He started me on it. He doesn't even play it anymore. And
Bless
I
him.
was just like, "Oh my god, like this would be something really cool for me to do, and it would get me out the house, stuff like that." But it was PC only, and I was like, "Oh well." I can't even say what I was gonna do, like, but it's just, it would be nice for this competitive scene to be opened up in a manner. Like, yes, it is primarily for PC, and I'll admit it. Like on PC, it's just cracked. It's just built different. Like the stuff
Yeah.
they can pull off. I mean, I've seen some crazy players on PlayStation, but
I mean, this is
just
again, it's like
I don't even know.
it's crazy, isn't it? It might just be a reason why a lot of the best players on PlayStation just are MKB, because it just, they just want to be as PC as badly as they can, so that eventually when they make the jump to PC, they're just ready. That's, hopefully what a lot of those players will be doing it for, not just to bully small children in bronze. Like, I hope not. But,
I mean, who would bully small children in bronze?
I have never been
Switch
to
players.
bronze, so I wouldn't do it. But I bullied plat players.
Can't relate.
I
Can't
bullied plat
relate.
players. Oh my god.
I've
That is-
I've never bullied bronze players. Like
I've never
I-
gone there.
I've
Thankfully.
bullied myself for being in bronze.
So you've
but...
been bullied by bronze players. Like, if anything, they're just abusing everyone. I don't know. It scares me. I never want to go that low. That like the void of bronze and silver really like.
It is a horrible
terrifies
place
me.
to be. You don't want to be there.
Silver's horrible.
I feel like you're just playing a different game at that point. Like it's just not even the same game. Like
It's insane because I feel like the majority of Smurfs are within the bronze to like gold bracket. So I like my DPS and my tank are in the medium, but being on DPS, like going between bronze and silver, that's just like you've got the genuine levels, and so you can just have like a level to a roll on them, or they're just full of Smurfs and you just don't get a word in edgeways, and you just get rolled and you just have to take it and then thank them for it afterwards, even if you don't want
thank you.
to. Just
It's like no.
thank you.
Don't
I will go
think
clean
so.
myself up now.
Yeah, definitely not
Okay.
fun. No, but hopefully
No.
this is something that we'll see if they decide to bring in the crossplay soon, and in a competitive sense, just having more players to kind of like, mix up the gene pool a bit, have a bit more of a diversity in every rank. That would be, again, like you said, like bringing fresh faces, and then maybe not having a team of 6 Smurfs, maybe a team of 1 Smurf, and then the rest are just normal players, and maybe on both sides, and then, just so that matchmaking stays a bit balanced. And that's what I hope will be the main result of this. And I hope they do it properly. I really do.
I have my fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, that's always the best part. Well then, I think as it is 7 o'clock, we've been going for about 2 hours. We've had an interesting session. We had a bit of a bit of a tangent midway through. We entered the bullet zone for 4 minutes and came out very much
But
unscathed.
that's one of the best podcasts. Is
Yeah.
Then it's a natural flowing conversation.
Story time was
and
great. We'll definitely have another story time if we can.
Story
Yeah,
time's
it's
the
what
best.
people like. People like the authenticity.
God, I do feel like an old hermit sometimes when I talk about TG. It's like, oh, I've been here since the dawn of time. It's like talking about my
It's been
experience.
84
Just
years.
finding out
Yeah.
more about TG.
Oh, it is fun. No, TG is such like a diverse sphere that people don't
I feel
realize.
like you've been here for so long, so and then
Jake, I'm so
And
old.
just reminding me.
You're
Oh, no,
old. Are
I've
you
been here
kidding me? I think I'm the oldest one here.
Maybe.
Well,
And then Lakin comes along and just
Maybe.
dominates everyone with age.
I'm 26 years old. I'm pretty certain I'm the oldest person in this lobby right now.
Yes, comfortably.
you
But
would probably be right.
That's the biggest
Yeah,
dub of
you'd
all
be
of them.
right.
Yeah, you're 6 years older than me.
Oh, don't. I'll just go get my Zimmer frame now and my hearing aids. It's
The same
okay.
frame. God, what a word.
My back pain is kicking in.
My other half just took his headphones off quickly. He's like, I'll go jump in my grave because he's 32 next month.
Just grabs the shovel. He's like, well, we off. Bless him.
Tally ho.
Tally ho.
At least he ain't 50 this year. That's the best
Alicia
thing.
50.
I should hope he's not 50 this year.
That is
Well,
a hell of
my
a
dad's
that is a
50
hell of
this year,
an
I'm making
undercover
a big
operation
deal.
if he's getting away with being 50, like under your nose.
I mean, if he's 50, he looks very good for 50.
Oh,
He
bless him.
looks very young.
Okay then. Well, ladies and gents, speaking of tally-hos and passerbys, we will be ending the stream here. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 2. The YouTube link will be available very soon. I will make that a thing that will happen today, hopefully. That is a commitment I'm going to stick to, I hope. But yeah, everyone who's joined, everyone who's randomly turned up, be that Bullet or Onai for like half a second that turned up at some point, and obviously Fluke, and Nat, and Bapple, and Miali, thank you so much for joining me. And it's been
Thank you
great.
for
You're
having me
all
again.
massively welcome whenever you want. I'm a very lucky individual to be able to say that I have fine, lovely people joining to talk about Overwatch, and this is great. We're back next week, and by the way, spoiler alert, minor spoiler alert, I'm going to build some hype. Next week, there's going to be a ginormous announcement, so that's going to be pretty much what the whole podcast is dedicated to.
Ooh.
Basically, this podcast was basically, I'm so glad that this happened, because this podcast was like, I was really panicking on content, because all the content was saved for next week, and then I was like, oh, nothing's happened this week, maybe I'll talk about Overwatch League, and then Aaron Keller, the saint that he is, came down from the heavens and said, talk about Crossplay, and I was like, oh yes, thank Christ, there's things to talk about. Uncle Aaron, the
And then we're
saviour
like,
himself.
Oh, scrims. Let's go with the
It's
Oh,
Bullet.
with Scrim Nights, yeah. Yes, Bullet.
It's funny. When's the next stream?
The next stream or the next podcast?
Next podcast.
It will be
Sorry.
same time next week, Friday at 5 BST.
I might be able to
It's
join
always when
again.
I'm eating.
Because Friday
I
is
think
now
I
my
might be
day
doing
off.
that one again.
Friday's your day off, huge. We love Fridays as a day off, let's go. Early weekend.
3-day
Oh, yeah,
weekends.
it's
let's go.
Friday. Then I work Saturday and then I'm off again on Sunday this week.
Huge.
Well, then not so 3-day weekend. Woo!
I'm like that nice.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here.
Right, let's stop distracting.
I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.